From J.J. Abrams, the visionary behind Star Wars Episode 7 and Felicity, comes a reboot impossible not to enjoy. Unless you're William Shatner. Star Trek. The cool new franchise that used time travel gobbledygook to throw away 50 years of canon. But who cares? Cause Star Trek is awesome again. Meet Nero.
Hello.
A Romulan out for vengeance after his home planet is destroyed. He'll be given a second chance to save his species when a black hole sends him back in time. But instead of warning his planet about their impending doom, he'll drift around waiting in space for 25 years. Come on, they don't have phones in space.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Rolling 20s. We are the show that showed up to a Civil War reenactment as Wolverine. Those Southern guys were pissed. I am Jeremy.
Steve.
Jesse.
And V.
Remember, you can subscribe to this show and several others in the MSP library at missionstarpodcast.com. You can subscribe to us on iTunes and on Stitcher, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at the Rolling 20s. You can send us any fan mail, suggestions for the show, or hate mail at mspfreight@yahoo.com. At the beginning of the show, the theme music you heard was by Machine Supremacy. You can find most of their discography for free download at machinesupremacy.com, as well as their latest couple of albums at Amazon.com. The clip you heard at the very beginning of the show was the honest trailers for the Star Trek movie. They did it as a celebration of Into Darkness, and boy, did they poke holes I never even really thought about. Before we get started, I do want to give a quick shout-out, because as I said in the last episode we taped, we were out for almost 3 weeks due to a mix of issues, conventions, family trips, and everything. And our first show back in 3 weeks, we almost immediately get a like on Facebook by Roger Heisman. Anybody could have said anything. You guys were gone forever. What the frick happened? All he says is, yay! So I wanted to say thank you for that. How's everybody doing?
Jesse and I are looking at one huge project at the moment.
It's involved a lot of plastic.
Yeah, we just...
You guys are having sex?
No. We just got our wave one of the Robotech RPG Tactics yesterday.
Oh, okay.
That's cool. Over 750-something models, and that's just wave one. And
they're one color, right? They're not painted or detailed?
No. They are detailed, but not in color or anything. It's one solid color for all the UEDF and one solid color for all the Zentradi.
That's slightly frustrating.
It's just a lot of assembly, and then the painting and stuff, which I've never done before, so that's going to be a learning process.
I've done painting, but I didn't realize that these were going to be that small.
Well, it's time for a new hobby then.
Yeah.
Oh, yay, another one.
How about you, V? How you doing?
Breathing.
It's a good hobby to keep up.
Yeah. I'm just still looking for a job.
Well, today is November 15th. Tomorrow I have to go to a staffing meeting for Anime Los Angeles.
Oh,
so I have to find out
about that.
Yeah, there have been some rumors come out that may be debunked very soon. There's a reason why I haven't told you guys what little I might know. But we'll see what happens after tomorrow. Let's see. Today's topic is actually about Marvel Civil War. Jesse brought it up now that we know for sure that Captain America 3 is going to be the Civil War movie. Some interesting rumors have come out about that already, saying that while Robert Downey Jr. may make an appearance, the primary villain of the piece may not be Iron Man. We'll get into that in a little bit, I'm positive. First off, I do need to preempt things a little bit. Usually this is where we start talking Kickstarters. One piece of news crossed my desk as I was sitting down trying to prep up this afternoon, and it makes me sad. Glenn Larson may have passed away today.
Oh.
Who?
Glenn Larson was an executive producer of a lot of 80s TV shows. I think Airwolf and A-Team. His most notable shows, though, were Knight Rider and Battlestar Galactica, if I remember correctly.
Oh.
Damn.
So, yeah, the guy really he didn't act, he didn't write, but because of what he did behind the scenes, he may have helped shape science fiction and pop culture in the late 70s to, I think, basically the early 90s.
Yeah.
Shaped my childhood.
Yeah, I mean, the initial report I got of it came off IO9, but they were parroting a report that was coming off the LA Times website. So if this is true, man, that's some serious shit.
Yep.
The guy also worked on Quincy M.E., BJ and the Bear,
BJ. Wow.
and Magnum P.I.
That's an impressive list of hits.
Yeah, it's not a bunch of stuff that would have put, say, trophies on his shelf, but like I said, he did a lot of pop culture when we were growing up. So he was 77. Supposedly he died Friday at UCLA Medical Center in Santa Monica. He did win 3 gold records. He was a singer in a group called the Four Preps.
Huh.
Wild, right?
Things you didn't know.
Yeah, his first credit as a writer ever was on an episode of The Fugitive. Holy cow, this guy was just everywhere in TV for almost 3 decades.
Yeah.
Well, rest in peace if it's true.
Yeah.
Now that we're off that downer, the Kickstarter corner still only has one item that's interesting us, and that's the accent wear cat ear headphones. These things that you can currently get on their Indiegogo page for $175 if you back the project. This one actually ends in a week. It ends on November 22nd, which is next Saturday. It has 16,769 backers. The goal to start production is $250,000. They have $2,693,040. Expect to find these at a convention near you very, very soon.
Yeah.
I'm still debating whether I should pitch in. Because
you only got a week to make that decision, dude.
I know.
How much
and
are
actually,
they?
If you back them on the Indiegogo page, you can get a pair in a color of your choice between red, green, blue, and purple for $150.
150.
Yeah, these don't appear to be like fly-by-night headphones either. They have a 40mm driver with 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz frequency response. And they have both the over-the-ear speakers and the cat ear speakers on top are functional. So you can share your music if you're so inclined.
Right.
Like I said in the few weeks we've been talking about this, I have really no good use for this whatsoever. Still want a pair.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm thinking about, like, I could take those to work and really annoy people, but no.
What were you going to say, V?
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, I would find use for being able to share what I'm listening to some of the time, but not the whole of the time.
You should wear that to a gaming session, V. Just have those on your head, and the next time like a tense scene comes up, you start playing purse music over your ears.
Oh my god. Well, meanwhile, I'm listening to my session notes the rest of the time.
Could you imagine, Jeremy? Could you imagine, having those things using, play like say Destiny, and just having the music of the game just coming out the ears?
If I'm playing Destiny and already playing it through my ears, I don't want to play it over the top ears because then everybody else in the room is getting double the speakers and just going, "Shut up!" No, that would piss somebody off. Thank goodness they have no microphone.
Yet. It's in beta.
Oh, dude, don't even start with me. We do have video game news. 343 Industries can't be terribly happy because some of the Halo 5 multiplayer beta has already been put on a video leak.
Ooh.
A few short snippets of Halo 5 Guardians multiplayer footage leaked online, and some fans are worried since they show the player able to sprint while still aiming down the sights. In other words, this would be a high-speed game, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Nice.
Interesting. That definitely changed the dynamics of the game.
It would change the dynamics of most shooters to come after as well. The executive producer at 343 Industries, Josh Holmes, went to Twitter to put fans at ease. There's no penalty to hip fire in Halo 5, no movement penalty when scoping zooming, no flinch, he said. Holy crap, there'd be people running everywhere.
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh, I've watched the footage. I sat down and watched it, and it does appear to be fast-paced stuff. But it's a leak, so it's rather grainy, and I'm not sure it's really worth sharing. So I'll leave that where it is. Diablo... Blizzard has decided to respond to some people asking if Diablo 3 is going to ever be cross-platform. The Diablo 3 lead designer, Kevin Marston's, told GameStop that it's, quote, definitely not possible at this point with this game. We didn't build it that way, so the two ecosystems are closed. I'm trying to give you the most definitive, least PR answer there is, and that is, no, we can't do that. What the Xbox and PlayStation networks do is different from what Battle.net does. And unquote.
End of discussion.
Yeah.
Pretty much. That's about as definitive as it gets.
That's the answer I was expecting, regardless.
Well, somebody's always got to ask, though.
I know.
I don't want to say it's the curse of new gamers. It's just somebody always has to come up and ask the same questions that everyone else has asked 18 times over because they're new. Speaking of Blizzard, though, there was an announcement that came out of BlizzCon that appears to be setting the gaming world abuzz. Did you guys see the trailer for Overwatch?
Yes.
I have not watched
I don't think so.
I'm rather interested in it, actually.
Yeah. I'm going to pull up a YouTube, but while I do that, I'm going to talk for a bit. Overwatch appears to be a brand new shooter that Blizzard is putting out. A first-person shooter that you get to pick definitive characters which have specific powers. It's not going to be the insert your hero here like Destiny or Halo is, or Call of Duty for that matter. So depending on what character you pick is what abilities you get, and then they set you loose in an arena and have at it.
Yeah, it's more like Borderlands.
Closer to, yeah. The trailer, though, was more than a bit entertaining. Here we go. I found the 6-minute trailer. We'll see if we go through all of it, but it shows several characters that are within the game. There it is. May contain content inappropriate for children. Hey, that's me! It starts off with a very military march while showing Blizzard's name. Their attempt to show they're taking over the world.
A new hope arose.
Well, they did for such a long time with WoW.
Yeah.
Charged with ending the war and restoring liberty to all nations.
I like how it starts out with a huge propaganda piece.
Scientists, adventurers.
It's like the beginning to Starship Troopers.
Who secured global peace for a generation.
I can see it.
Under its steadfast protection, the world recovered.
And the ape with glasses. Am I the only one thinking like Gorilla Grodd or Ultra Humanite?
That's Winston.
Will never be forgotten.
That was so cool. In that one battle, they had Soundquake. Remember?
And all of a sudden, it's a Pixar movie.
So which one's your favorite? No. Tracer.
I wonder how much of this trailer is going to be indicative of gameplay. Probably very little, I imagine.
It seems to be the general trend lately.
Yeah.
Oh, this is Blizzard. They always have some awesome looking cinematic going.
That's Doofen's gauntlet. Oh man, they said he could level his
I'm pretty sure though it actually does show some kind of gameplay.
Remember, he was all fighting and
Well, the trailer doesn't show any actual gameplay. I've seen it once, and it primarily shows a cinematic of some of the characters fighting it out amongst each other.
Overwatch got shut down. Half of them are just mercenaries now.
Why is it in every animated feature the big brother is always the downer?
Because life hit him.
Yeah, I have no explanation for that.
If it wasn't for the blue face plane, I'd say V could dress up as this assassin.
all right, playtime's over. Get to cover.
Are you saying I can't be blue?
Just saying, some people don't like for the first time they put on a costume to go head to toe in makeup.
As long as it's not gonna kill me, I think I'd be okay with it.
Okay, if that's the case, I just want to see whatever tan lines you put up. I can only hope that the actual gameplay is as frantic as this trailer implies.
I've seen some of it. Actually, I can't tell. These show very action pose type scenarios.
You mean from the gameplay footage?
Yeah. I mean, they are. The animations you actually see in them are actually in the game.
Oh, I'm sure they're portrayed as such, but
Don't worry, lads.
yeah,
Cavalry's here.
still. So why does the young lady with the goggles have an Australian accent?
Because they showed her from Australia. I
That's
guess?
just the character they said. That's just the kind of character they decided to give her.
Oh
Because Australians are sexy?
I like all three of those answers for different reasons.
It's Blizzard. They're known for creating some really for creating characters that stand out.
Yeah.
Stay here.
All right, I'm going to stop this for myself just because it's going to go on for another couple minutes, and I'm sure the sounds of nothing but gunfire is going to sound really interesting to whoever's listening. But I did get a list of all of the characters and every known class in Overwatch.
Should be 12.
They start off with Tracer, the young Australian lady. They list her as a young pilot with a cute accent that somehow got lost in time during a test flight.
Yep.
As a result, she can manipulate time as will. Left-clicking uses her pulse pistols. Shift allows her to dash forward in time. E allows her to dash backwards in time. And Q drops a pulse bomb.
Yep.
Below, it says. They're short videos attached to the story on IO9. Winston is the giant ape. He's genetically engineered as a gorilla who is also a scientist. Right-click is a Tesla cannon, which he can charge. Shift uses a jump pack for mobility. E makes him put up a shield, and Q lets him go into primal raid, which looks like a berserk mode.
Yep.
The character who wasn't in the trailer was something called Symmetra, a lady obsessed with perfection and order. She can bend reality, use sentry drones, and set up teleporters. Bastion is your giant gentle robot who can shoot, set up remote control mines, and turn into a cannon.
Yep.
Reaper is the guy with the mask and the twin guns you saw in the trailer there. He's a terrorist. He can turn to a wraith, has a move called Shadow Step that allows him to teleport, and do a spinning move called Death Blossom. All of a sudden I'm thinking The Last Starfighter.
Yep.
You have an engineer named Torbjorn. He has a rivet gun, a forge hammer, and a turret and more. The woman in the trailer is Widowmaker. She's an assassin with no emotion, and the Kinja story says, how original is that? She has a sniper rifle called Widow's Kiss, a grappling hook, and she can set mines. Hanzo is a former criminal using a bow and arrow for either damage or to reveal nearby enemies. He can also wall climb and unleash dragons onto his enemies. He's supposed to be the father of all dragons, I guess. You have a Zen monk robot named Zenyatta, who can shoot all kinds of orbs and become immune to damage by transcending reality. Like Miley Cyrus. Reinhardt is a hammer-wielding champion. He can pull out a shield, charge enemies, and looks like a bulky class that packs power. Farah is a soldier who can shoot rockets, has versatile jets that can boost her, concussive blasts, and very offensive-oriented moves. And then the last is an apparent cyber angel named Mercy. She's a literal guardian angel, can heal. She's a scientist, uses a staff, and a small blaster. So those are the 12 characters featured in the game and able to be used. None of us own Wii U's here, right?
Nope.
No.
Correct.
Yeah, they're already releasing more of these amiibo figures to be used with the Wii U and the 3DS.
Yeah, Loot Crate's doing some kind of promotion with it.
Well, they're adding the Wind Waker style Link, Mega Man, and Sonic to the amiibo line.
Why not?
It looks like they're also adding Princess. That's not Rosita. I think that's Princess Daisy and Bowser as well.
Daisy? Yellow dress?
No, blue dress. Maybe that is Rosita.
Rosalind. Yeah.
Rosalind, thank you. I'm not up on my Mario horrors.
Yeah, me either. I know enough that I know that character from Game Theorists.
Yeah, they're part of a second wave, and I don't have a Wii, and this is one of those things that just doesn't interest me in general. But news that does interest me is that Batman Arkham Knight, the game that's coming out by Rockstar next year, is aiming for graphics parity across both the Xbox One and PS4 platforms.
Okay.
Not Rockstar, Rocksteady. In other words, they want the game to look the same in both systems. They're about 6 months away from going gold, according to one of their developers, and they don't know what the resolution and frame rate is going to be yet. That's something that happens during the optimization phase of the game. But they are aiming for the same visual look across all platforms. It's currently scheduled to come out in June of next year.
So it means it's going to be as good as the weakest system.
More or less, I guess that's what you could say. I have never played Second Life. You know, it's I guess you could say a life simulator.
Yeah,
Never
that
heard
would
of
be
it.
accurate.
Has anybody here ever played Second Life?
I logged onto it briefly on a poor computer.
There's a video from a YouTuber and Second Life briefer called Virtual Experiences. He attempts to haggle with a gruff real estate agent named Daniel, who pretends not to know how to use Second Life, and then a gravelly voiced agent slowly loses his temper as he tries to offer tech support and then berates him. What the frick, man?
Huh.
And all this to buy virtual real estate. I know that real life money is playing the game, but some people are taking this way too seriously. Square Enix has just announced a third game in the Just Cause series.
Just Cause?
It's by Avalanche. It's an open world action adventure series of games. It's coming to the PS4, Xbox One, and PC next year, according to Square Enix. The announcement comes after some leaked screenshots came out, so it appears they had to come forward and actually say, yes, we have a game. So it's going to be both in retail and digital download versions. Is anybody else already sick of hearing about Black Friday deals?
I ignore
never
that
do
shit.
Black Friday anyway, so
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure Steve and Jimmy are sick of it, seeing as how they have to.
yeah, print all the crap. Yeah.
It drives me insane because in looking at video game news, I have been hit with a deluge this week of different Black Friday promotions or people announcing them early. I'm only going to go into one of them, and that's because Target is having a pre-Black Friday promotion. Buy any 2 games, get 1 free, and it's not of limited selection.
Huh.
Among the eligible titles are Super Smash Bros., 3DS, Madden NFL 15, Titanfall, Destiny, and Mario Kart 8. And if you buy a 3DS XL, they'll toss in a $25 gift card. Unfortunately, that sale ends today.
Oh, I'm not getting it.
Well, Target's not alone. Amazon began rolling back prices on some select games, and it's going to keep rolling back prices until the day after Thanksgiving. Bargains are going to vary from day to day, but you can find out what's on sale on its holiday specials page. And this is just the first wave of stuff we're going to be hit with over the next 2 weeks. I hate Black Friday. Last in video game news, Japan, as it turns out, is not a hotbed of video game activity anymore. They're still being sold there, but they're not being bought in numbers that's making people comfortable anymore. Let me put it this way. According to historian Dengeki Online, the 3 biggest selling 3DS games during that week are Monster Hunter 4G, New Super Smash Bros. For 3DS, and Yokai Watch 2 Honkai. The thing is, though, Monster Hunter 4G, as the top-selling game, only sold 54,089 copies in the country.
Wow.
New Super Smash Bros. For the 3DS, 23,439 copies. Yokai Watch 2 sold only 13,967 copies. 3DS market is probably the healthiest among them. The PS3's top sellers for the same period. Power Pro Baseball 2014 at 13,658 copies. The Evil Within, which is a pretty heavily promoted game, 8,100 copies.
Damn.
Borderlands, a pre-sequel, came in third at 2,706 copies. They have stuff for the Vita here, but the Vita doesn't even sell well in this country, so I'm going to skip that. This is almost pathetic. The PS4. Top-selling game was The Evil Within during that period. 3,482 copies. Metro Redo came in second at 2,983. Onechanbara Z2 came in third at 1,928 copies. You know, the Wii U, the top-selling game during that period, was the Lego Movie video game at 3,135 copies. Mario Kart 8 came in second at under 3,000. What's even worse is the third one was Fatal Frame 5, 894 copies.
Wow.
They're just not selling games out there. I don't know if it's because people have stuff to do or if the country's moved on to mobile gaming on a whole, but, you know, and the Xbox One, no secret, it's not doing well in that country. This sounds even worse. Their top-selling game during that period was Titanfall, 377.
300.
Yeah.
Wow.
So video games are just not selling in Japan anymore.
Well, those types of video games anyway. Console system video games.
Yeah. Maybe people are waiting for Sword Art Online to hit PC.
Actually, that was a console.
Day one sales.
I thought that was a PC game in that one. Who knows? They're all too busy with their wife.
It was not connected to the computer.
They're too busy with their waifus.
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming is the more popular game seller over there.
Well, we will move on to Marvel Media News. I am a little bit astonished that was the big release that everyone's expecting. Interstellar came out this week. It did not place number one in the box office over the last weekend.
Really?
Yep. Big Hero 6 took number one at 56.2 million. Interstellar came in second at 50 million. Actually, I'm sorry, 52.2 million. So they got beat out by an animated feature on a very low-known Marvel property. I'm honestly astonished. Interstellar seemed like it had all the buzz going into the weekend. Then again, though, Big Hero 6, you're more likely to sell multiple tickets to people.
Yeah.
Like kids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, kids are going to drag their parents to it. And some parents are going to drag their kids to it. There was part of the ending in Guardians of the Galaxy that was removed from the film.
Which one was that?
Well, according to Splash Film, the director, James Gunn, said they decided to focus on the end with the good guys. And there were 3 people in the ending who ended up on the cutting room floor. A scene with Grandpa Quill, you know, Star-Lord's grandfather, a scene with Nebula, and a scene with the Collector, which became the post-credit scene.
Mm.
Now, according to what Gunn said, quote, Grandpa Quill was cut because he was in old age makeup, and we were a little afraid people wouldn't recognize that it was him from the beginning of the movie. And also, it was a pretty sad moment. It was Grandpa Quill, and he has his photograph of Meredith and Peter as a little boy, and he looks up at the stars, and we go to the stars, and it was really sweet. It means that he must have seen Quill getting abducted at the end of that day and is still waiting for him to return, but it was freaking sad, so we took it out.
Aww.
Nebula was actually my favorite. Nebula's I really liked a lot because she's lost her arm and she's just pissed off, and she's walking through this field all pissed off with a busted Ravager vehicle behind her. And she's just pissed off, and I loved it, unquote. He used the phrase pissed off like 4 times in that paragraph.
Yeah. So everyone's really pissed off.
Yeah. Gunn said that Guardians 2 is going to answer some of the questions posed by the first one. I would really hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of what we talked about at the beginning of it, Captain America Civil War has added an actor that they've listed as the villain, but they haven't said what his role is. They've cast Daniel Bruhl. B-R-U-H-L. He was in Inglourious Bastards. They won't identify the character right now, saying that Bruhl has come on as the villain role in the movie. Marvel's official release only says that he's joined the cast. I'm not sure what he could be in this movie.
Yeah.
If it's going to be Civil War, I really don't know. I mean, if he's going to be part of the Civil War, maybe he's Nitro.
What if he's Osborn?
Tied up in Spider-Man properties.
Yeah, that's true.
So I really don't know. I know personally I'm a fan of the current Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that a movie is finally coming out for the character. What I didn't know is that she's getting an action figure already. Marvel has its Legends line, which are oversized figures with somewhere around 20 to 30 points of articulation. They're adding a line for the Build-A-Figure of Odin, the Allfather, and they're calling this one, she's going to be part of it under the tagline Maidens of Might. This particular line is going to have Thor, the Scarlet Witch, Hawkeye, Iron Fist, Machine Man, and Sentry. I actually like most of that list.
Scary lineup.
Say that again?
I'm saying that's a scary lineup.
Yeah, but those are all action figures. It's not a team-up or anything.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Well, do you want to see the...
Yeah.
Do you want to see what the figure looks like? It's an in-package shot, but it comes with an alternative head, both her with and without her cowl mask. I wouldn't mind having that on a shelf.
Cool.
They picked some nice colors for the mold. Everything is very striking, and it's easy to find the different variances in the costume. I think it's pretty effective.
Yeah.
Although it's a little weird to see Odin, and you have just his axe, his cloak, and his head.
Yeah.
It does look like she ripped him apart and decided to keep the choice bits.
Decapitate him with that axe?
Who knows? Maybe he's Yarnborn.
That's what I was thinking, actually.
Yarnborn?
Thor's axe since he lost Mjolnir.
Ah, okay.
Did you guys watch the Marvel 75 Years from Pulp to Pop special last Tuesday?
I didn't.
No.
Nope.
Okay, it actually had a small 30-second clip which had teasers from Age of Ultron and Ant-Man.
Oh.
Huh.
I assume I don't need to ask, and you're just going to want this stuff and start yelling at me if I don't deliver it?
Yes.
Cut to the chase.
Gimme.
God damn, you people are pushy. Okay, there it is. Oh, wow, you actually see Michael Douglas and Paul Rudd on set. And the Ant-Man costume, too. Then you see little bits of Age of Ultron with flying cars and what's her name, the Elizabeth Olsen pretending to throw stuff with her brain. That actually looked really cool. I didn't expect the Ant-Man costume to be the same one from the teaser footage that's been put out, or the test teaser, I should say. I liked it anyway, so that's kind of a good thing for me. Okay, one thing I did not know was that one of the writers of the Black Widow screenplay, Nathan Edmondson, he penned the first 6 pages of a possible Black Widow screen treatment.
Okay, what does that mean?
Yeah.
In other words, he wrote a test script trying to figure out if he could put together something that would be used in a future movie.
Yeah.
A lot of it has to do with a priest at a confessional in Berlin. It's all basically narrative about different people moving through the halls and how the widow sneaks up and starts kicking his ass. I can't really describe it all without reading the whole thing to you guys, which would just be long and boring, but it does sound like he could put together a heck of a spy thriller if this guy wanted to. They might want to consider talking to him after Scarlett Johansson is done with, matronly duties and everything.
Yeah, I thought I had heard that they were actually filming a Black Widow movie, but I guess I was mistaken.
No, you were correct. They had full plans to put out a Black Widow movie somewhere in Phase 3, but those plans got put on hold when Scarlett Johansson came down with a case of pregnancy.
Ah, okay, that's what's up.
Yeah. They had to switch around the order of filming scenes in Age of Ultron because of it. There's a couple scenes where you'll see the Widow running through her, and it's not actually her. They put together a stunt double and gave her a very convincing latex mask.
Gotcha.
So all of Johansson's personally filmed scenes were from the sternum up, because she was 5 months. She was 5 months along when they started filming. So she wasn't available to do a hell of a lot. Although, there's a Marvel movie out there that looks like it is going to suck donkey ass.
Which one?
New details have emerged on the Fantastic Four movie.
Oh.
Again?
Oh, this one actually made my wife mad, and she's a moderate comic fan at best, okay? The actor playing Dr. Doom is Toby Kebbelt. Toby with a B, okay? And he was in an interview, and they asked him about his character. And you know how they kept saying that this is going to be a grounded approach to superheroics?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, their version of Dr. Doom is not a Latvian noble. His real name is going to be Victor Domashev. It's not even Doom. Or Van Damme, as in the Ultimate Comics. His name is Victor Domashev. Would you like to know what his background in this movie is?
I already know.
He's a blogger.
Wait, what?
Dr. Doom, in the Fantastic Four movie of 2015 by Fox, is a blogger.
Wow.
His name is Victor Domashev, and he's a programmer and blogger with an alias of Doom.
Oh, God.
You've heard that right. According to Fox, Dr. Doom is a troll.
Can I don't even care, you know? I was never really a big fan of the Fantastic Four, but yeah. I seriously want to plant my foot up somebody's ass right now.
You know, to me, the biggest thing of the Fantastic Four movie should be Dr. Doom. He's got to be this imposing, manipulative, menacing figure.
Yeah.
And somehow I don't get that from Blogger.
Me neither.
I mean,
You know, and
this is a guy that, whether or not you read the Fantastic Four, you knew who Dr. Doom was, because he's been everywhere.
Yep. And I love the actor because he's so damn excited about this. In his quote, I'll give you the full quote. I'm excited to see it too, and my nerves really. The only thing I can tease you about is that what I worked on most was the voice, because nobody, even in the cartoons when I was watching them, I was like, so where's he from? There's a mild change, and I'll tell you, because of our history. He's Victor Domashev, not Victor Von Doom in our story, and I'm sure I'll be sent to jail for telling you that. The Doom in ours, I'm a programmer. Very antisocial programmer. And on blogging sites, I'm Doom. It was cool, man. Josh, the whole deal, the lo-fi way he did it, the ultra real, it was just nice to do that. It was nice to be feeling like we had come to terms with what was given by this incident, unquote.
Obviously, he does not know what the comics are about, or what the character is.
No.
Well, I don't know. He may have an idea, but he's so excited that this is, you know, not superheroic so much as adventuring, it sounds like, and that Dr. Doom is now such a real character. I don't read comic books for real characters, dude.
Yeah. I read it for the crazy shit and the real that comes through anyway. Not, oh yeah, we're just going totally real. No.
Yeah, you know, this is one of those things where I've been on the fence. You know, we have this show, we need to be able to talk about stuff. I'm like, maybe I'll be the guinea pig. Maybe I'll go see it. I heard that. Fuck that. Steve can go see it.
No, not doing it. I think we can just officially boycott this fucking movie.
Well, I have a piece of concept art from Big Hero 6. There was something that they had an idea for that did not make it to the movie, and this makes me sad. I sent you the URL. Take a look. It has to do with a hairy baby.
They could have put that in the end credits somewhere.
Yeah, for those of you wondering why he's laughing, the cat that everyone's seen in the promos being held by the Baymax robot, for some reason it looks like an early experimentation with rocket boots. Hero decided to put 4 of them on his cat. And I love that cat's expression of, I'm going to poop something.
Either that or a hairball's coming out. One way or the other. It's coming out one end or the other.
Yeah. I would have loved to have seen that on screen.
Disaster is about to be had.
I still need to go see that movie.
It's really
Yeah,
good.
oh.
It's worth a watch.
I'm going to check
Okay.
tape after work tomorrow. If I don't, I'm going to go see it.
I may do that next weekend. By the way, several people came forward after they found out about the details of Josh Trank's, Dr. Doom in this movie.
Yeah.
Several people have decided online, according to Kinja.com, decided to try and rename the movie to something a little more appropriate than the Fantastic Four. Some of the suggestions are the Aesthetic Four, the Minimal Four, the four that often go out for lunch together but always get separate checks so no one pays more than their share.
Really? That's a thing?
That's something somebody put up. The completely unremarkable four. The decidedly average four. The statistically normal, not at all unconventional four. The entirely representative of society as a whole four. And the final one, which is, I think, most appropriate for this film, it's, those guys. What more can you
Steve,
say?
you're enjoying this way too much.
I'm sorry. I don't like the comic in and of itself, and the direction they're going in just seems to be aimed at pissing people off, and these reactions are priceless.
Steve's just into Fox's pain right now, apparently.
Fox can do that.
Oh, yes.
Well, TMZ has a couple photos of Henry Cavill in his Superman costume during filming of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. The images are not a whole lot to speak about. I'm going to send it to you. One of it looks to be just him between scenes laughing. The other one is him hooked up to wires without a cape, probably trying to float in midair and talk down to Batman, frankly.
And holding the cape suspiciously over his crotch.
Well, with the wires, it looks like it's riding up a little uncomfortably, and they might have patted him a little bit.
He probably doesn't want anyone looking directly at his kryptonite.
Somebody probably reminded him about what people who wore capes, what happened to them in The Incredibles. He's just like, yeah, you're right, yeah, all right, yeah, holding the cape.
Yeah, is it just me, or does his hair seem like very close cut in this movie?
It does, yeah.
Yeah, he's not going for the boyish Clark Kent, he's going for the more slick back.
He's going for the more, hey, you owe me $50 look. Still going to see it when it comes out. I can't guarantee I'm going to go with it with an open mind, though. And it's not quite clicking like I thought it would.
Yeah.
There is some interesting news on DC's TV properties, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's been announced, well, not TV properties. I should say that in their movieverse, the Suicide Squad film has cast Harley Quinn. They have cast a Miss... where is it? Margot Robbie. I don't know her myself. She was in The Wolf of Wall Street. She looked to be a very attractive blonde. She actually looks kind of like Harley Quinn just up front, at least from this production photo. I sent it to you so you can see it. I think that's a scene directly from Wolf of Wall Street.
She's quite fetching.
Yeah, she's a good-looking lady.
Yeah, I can see her as Harley.
The difficulty I think Hollywood would have is not coming up with people that look like Harley Quinn. You throw a rock like 50 feet and you'll hit a blonde in this city. I think the problem is going to be just finding someone that can mimic that madcap zaniness. Yeah. That almost living cartoon zaniness that Harley Quinn always exudes in comic books and cartoons. This will be her first actual live-action appearance. And I know what you're going to say, Jesse. The character was on Arrow, but all we ever saw was a backshot, and there was a different actress who gave the voice for that.
I wasn't saying anything like that. Didn't realize she was on Arrow.
Okay. It's just we're going to see an actual played Harley Quinn, and that may be good, and it may be bad. I don't know.
You won't know until it happens. Strong that voice to Harley Quinn in Arrow.
I know, but like I said, an actress that was used to voice acting did the voice while someone else just stood there for the scene. So we need to see more.
Yeah.
I'm open-minded.
Yeah. They have cast another actor for The Flash. We talked before about Firestorm, the two primary characters that form Firestorm. Let me see, Ronnie Raymond and the Professor. I can't remember what his name is. Professor Stein have both been cast. The thing is, they just cast somebody who made the other half of the modern Firestorm after the Professor died. There was an additional character that was brought into the comics. I think his name was Jason Rush. Jason Rush. I don't see... Oh, here it is. The actor's name is Luke Roderick, who's going to play it. He also appears in CW's iZombie pilot. Luke Roderick, I'm not familiar with. He had a role in the Caprica TV series that was on Sci-Fi. So I don't know very well who this is, but now you have both modern and classic Firestorms. Almost sounds like the character of Dr. Martin Stein is not meant to stay around very long. But that wasn't the most interesting casting news over the weekend about, or over the week, I should say, about DC's TV properties. It may not be the most confusing either. It's no secret that since they've debuted Flash, there's going to be a Flash and Arrow crossover of 2 episodes of each, or 1 episode of each show into a 2-episode special at the end of this season. Okay?
Okay.
They've revealed that actors have been cast to play 2 villains over the course of this 2 episodes. One was not necessarily a surprise. They've hired an actor who's going to play Captain Boomerang.
Okay.
Villain name is Digger Harkness. That was not a surprise to much of anybody. The thing that did surprise a lot of people was that there was a character cast there was an actor cast for the character of Roy G. Bavolo. I did not know this name before. I grant you I don't know DC very well, but Roy G. Bavolo, I drew a blank. I had to look him up. Roy G. Bavolo is a lesser-known DC villain called the Rainbow Raider.
I'm sorry, but given the connotation, that is incredibly gay-sounding.
Right?
Let me send you a URL. It's incredibly gay-looking.
I'm sorry, but that, yeah.
This is from the Newsarama article. It's a picture... It's one of the more modern pictures of the Rainbow Raider, and he doesn't look intimidating at all. He looks like he escaped from a circus.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. The thing is, though, it's all in the name. Like I said, the character name, or the real name of this Rainbow Raider is Roy G. Bavolo. In other words, the first letters of his name are ROYGBIV, as in the spectrum of the rainbow. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet.
Really?
Well, yeah, that tells me very much that he was made somewhere around the 70s, back when the names of characters were just as funny as their handles. But if it sounds ridiculous, it's probably meant to. Part of this has to do with the fact that, from what we know, the Rainbow Raider hits the Flash with the red spectrum of his light, which causes Barry to become increasingly angry over the course of the special.
Oh.
So he's going to manipulate the emotional... Yeah, you almost wonder if a ring slinger is coming in here somewhere.
Yeah, that's my first thought.
Oh,
I really hope
I was
not.
I was totally thinking about Red Superman.
Oh, fuck you forever. There's DC fans that pretend that never happened, ever.
Hey, I had to bring up your Facebook post somehow.
I'm sorry.
Screw off.
Who's this?
There's been periods throughout Superman's history where he's been split in two, the Red Superman and the Blue Superman. It's happened for various means, varying reasons, and more often than not, it has to be undone because it's always a fucking nightmare.
Gotcha.
At one point in the 70s, there was a Red and Blue Superman, and what they decided to do with the character was have one date Lois Lane and the other one date Lana Lang.
Oh, my. That must have been confusing. Yeah.
It was a strange situation. But it's not even like it's not even like they swap partners. They dress in very obvious different color blue and red outfits, too.
Does Superman have a thing for L's? Like the letter L?
He likes to get laid with Lois and Lana lusciously every league.
Nice.
Thank you. Improv. No, but the Arrow and Flash crossover is going to start very typically, where in the first episode they're fighting amongst themselves for some reason. Then the second episode they go, hey, there's villains too.
That's very generic.
I don't know about generic. I'd just say typical.
Same thing.
And last bit of DC media news I have is that they have a frontrunner for a director of the Wonder Woman movie, Michelle McLaren. Michelle McLaren is not known for a whole lot of movies, but she has directed episodes of Game of Thrones, The Walking Dead, and Breaking Bad, which she also executively produced. And given that filmography, yeah, I'd give her a shot in a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't say that I've watched a single episode of any of those series, but they are all highly acclaimed.
I enjoy all three series for different reasons. And I don't know which episode she's done particularly, but, you know, I have yet to really find a truly bad episode of any of those.
Agreed.
I found some that aren't as good as... Yeah, there's some that aren't as good as others, but I haven't sat there and gone, well, that's a waste of an hour.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to see what she can do. Let's just hope the script is up to par, because if it's not, no director's going to be able to save it. I think we all know by now that there's a Warcraft movie on the way.
Yeah.
It's been in talks.
Okay. Oh, that's
No,
right.
it's official. It's coming. I actually have a list of some of the known actors, but all of the known characters that are going to be portrayed in this film. Do you want them, or should I just keep walking?
Okay.
Characters.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, of the heroes... wow. All right, Fred.
You know.
Sure.
Okay, hang on. We have from the Heroes of the Alliance, the characters being used are Anduin Lothar, the Lion of Azeroth. We have Lane Wren, who's actually being played by Dominic Cooper. We have Tarja Wren, and who's supposed to be Lane's wife and queen. A character named Medivh. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, Medivh.
Medivh. Okay, thanks.
I don't know.
All right. We have Khadgar and Ganora Half-Orcan. Those are the heroes of the movie. When it comes to the Horde side, it's going to be featuring Durotan, Orgrim Doomhammer. That sounds like an awesome metal band. Black Hand.
Durotan, Orgrim Doomhammer. Who?
Black Hand.
Black Hand.
Black Hand. Okay.
Gul'dan, and
Gul'dan.
that's it. Gul'dan, okay, whatever. It's just not in my wheelhouse in general, you know.
Yeah.
I know Black Hand was I know the name is all over the damn game, and I just don't know the actual historical accuracy of it.
I couldn't say it all. All I know about World of Warcraft is what comes out in press releases.
Yeah.
Well, we've got 3 humans, a
Same here.
dwarf, and a half-orc, apparently, on the Alliance side.
Ganora Half-Orcan, if I read that correctly. I have been trying to avoid something because it's been a nasty subject on the internet, but V has brought it up before, and that's Gamersgate.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to talk about that directly because I think that's become a mired mess. I think a lot of people have subverted the problems of the situation and turned it into a much larger, louder, and less concrete debate.
I think they all just took it entirely too personally.
It could be.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about one aspect of it, though, that does trouble me a bit, and that is what seems to be coming through that is an outcry of feminism. Okay? The thing about feminism as a movement, especially when it gets very angry, is that it tends to lose sight of several things. One of the biggest feminist voices in video games that I've heard of is a gaming critic named Anita Sarkeesian. Okay?
Okay.
I don't know anything about her political ideologies. I don't know about her participation in Gamersgate, and I'm going to stay out of that. But what I don't like is that she is denouncing women's roles in video games and women's portrayals in video games without actually knowing a lot about it.
Oh.
Good example. She had a recent video blog post on YouTube where she singled out the game Bayonetta as very sexist, as she puts it, because the character is nude a lot of the time, according to her estimation. I don't believe she's ever played it, because I have played the game, And not only does the character spend a lot of her time in what looks to be a black bodysuit, she's also one of those characters that's very much in charge of the game. She's not asking men for help. She's not shying away from larger fights just to change makeup. She's actually charging in very well, let alone this entire game, as it turns out, is written by a woman.
Yeah. But her sexed up, basically the game is written for guys to play. For the most part.
I'm not going to debate that. I mean, it was definitely marketed directly at guys. You know, there was no section of the game where it was just tell your boyfriend you love him for 200 experience points. Nothing like that.
Well, that in and of itself is kind of insulting, Jeremy.
Yeah. You know, it's just I hate it when people start thumping on a cause, but then the cause gets subverted because people will start attacking one aspect of a cause instead of attacking the whole issue.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what seems to be occurring in a lot of Gamersgate, is that a lot of people are now arguing the points of feminism in video games rather than addressing the central issue of what Gamersgate started out as, and that's whether or not, gaming creators are colluding with press to get better reviews. That's a whole different issue than what Gamersgate has turned into.
Yeah.
So until they actually start addressing Gamersgate, this thing will probably go on forever of just people pointing fingers as to what's wrong with feminism.
Yeah. Well, the only reason why it even went in that direction is because it was...
It was supposedly a female game designer that slept with a reporter to get better reviews.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he didn't even actually review her.
Right, and there's differing accounts as to what went on, because the company that hired him said that they did fire him, but what they discovered is that she slept with him after he gave his review.
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I don't know why it should surprise anyone. You know, people have sex.
Yeah.
And they have sex for multiple reasons. And it's not like it, it's like, oh no, we've exposed the dirty secret of gaming. No, you expose the dirty secret of just about every single business out there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So I just don't know why people think video game designers are going to be any different.
No, I don't either.
Speaking of women, though, I did find a story on Jezebel. There's actually they've listed out 10 martial arts movies featuring female characters as central characters that they say everybody should watch. It shows, basically showing badass women in front and center.
Please tell me that Chun-Li movie's not on that list.
No, thankfully. These are all. Most of these are like Chinese kung fu films. You know, the stuff that you sit around with a bunch of people with like a 4-pack of Mountain Dew, a 12-pack of beer, and like a lot of pizzas and start laughing yourself stupid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They start off with the 1966 movie Come Drink With Me. Well, you know how these things are translated. The names come up a little bit bizarre.
Yeah.
But it's regarded as one of the seminal films of the wuxia genre. I assume when they say wuxia, I assume they mean when characters are running around yelling, "Wuxia!"
Maybe. That might actually be a more...
The thing is, though, the more I look at the description, the more I'm not sure... I need to ask what exactly they were thinking when they wrote this movie, because the master swordsman in this movie, named Golden Swallow, I shit you not, has been sent by the government to retrieve a governor's kidnapped son from a group of bandits. If I need to get my son back, I'm not sending a dude named Golden Swallow. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Golden Swallow's a her. That makes this even stranger to me. She's the central character. She partners up with what appears to be a drunken beggar who turns into a martial arts master looking for revenge. They also remark on the Crane Fighter from 1979, where an actress named Judy Lee, marketed as the female Bruce Lee, plays Ping Er. Ping Er. She sounds like a hacker. She teaches herself a variation of kung fu known as Crane style against the wishes of her father. And let me see. She falls in love with a guy named Chow Chan Hai. They get married, and on their wedding night, she straight up challenges him, refusing to get into bed with him unless he defeats her in a fight, and forces her onto the bed. That's kind of hot.
I won't
From
disagree.
from 1981, we have My Young Auntie. It's also known as Fangs of the Tigress, starring Kara Hui as Cheng Tai Noon, a martial arts expert marrying a much older man in order to protect his estate from his villainous brother. I have no idea how to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm at a loss for words right now. They call it serious kung fu with light gags. 1977 has The Stranger from Shaolin. Yim Wing Chun, played by Cecilia Wong Hong Sao, is a young woman whose family is murdered by the Manchus and escapes to a nearby Shaolin temple by disguising herself as a young man. She performs seemingly menial tasks, then soon develops strength and skill and ends up creating her own style of close-range fighting. So, like 10 years before, this is the Karate Kid. 1983 has The Lady Assassin, starring Lian Liu. It's one of those very zany, complicated films about a greedy prince trying to outdo another prince poised to become the next Manchu emperor. She plays Liu Si Niang, a skilled swordsman who just sort of shows up after the premise has been laid out and starts kicking ass. Okay. 1972 had The 14 Amazons, a folklore-based war epic about the female generals of the Yang Dynasty. General Yang Sung Pao dies in battle against Western Jia, leaving his son as the only male heir, and his tactician widow, Mu Guiying, played by Ivy Ling Po, takes it upon herself to lead the resistance against Western Jia. Actually sounds like a well-thought-out movie.
Yeah.
This is taking a while, but we also have, as far as their picks, The Woman Avenger from 1980, The Touch of Zen from 1971, and Broken Oath from 1977. I almost had to laugh at Broken Oath because part of the description says that Angela Mao is playing the character of Pure Lotus. That's the kind of name that in modern society sounds like a fucking dare.
Or a porn name.
Yeah. Steve and I were big fans of comic books back in the early 90s, and that's when Jim Lee restarted the X-Men franchise.
Yep.
Steve, do you remember that? Do you remember that gatefold cover that Jim Lee made of the X-Men when it came out? That
X-Men Gold.
Yeah, X-Men Blue, actually.
Yeah, Blue, yeah.
Yeah, that four-cover picture that when you split all the covers together formed this, and I sent you guys a URL. You had to buy 4 issues to get all this.
Yep.
Then later on, they came out with a $5 issue where it gave you the whole thing as a giant fold-out.
Yeah, which we have signed.
Yep. Well, here's the thing. An enterprising DeviantArter. I don't know who this is. Actually, I guess this isn't a DeviantArt, but an internet artist decided to take it upon himself to recreate that picture.
Oh,
he is on DeviantArt. His name is Jeremy Robert, and it's not what you think it is.
Uh-oh.
There's the link. Take a look.
That amuses me. Especially considering the fact that Jim Lee is probably redesigned a lot of these costumes.
Yeah, Jim Lee is the one who redesigned all these costumes. For those who aren't sure what's going on, Mr. Roberts decided to recreate that famous gatefold cover as the Justice League versus Darkseid. And I gotta admit, it works.
Yeah.
It's
pretty good looking, although there's something rather hilarious about Batman hunkered down there as if he's getting ready to punch him and is just wondering where his claws are at.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm not Wolverine.
I have a sudden compulsion to say I'm the best there is at what I do, which I am, but I'm not. What the fuck is going on? I did not know that there was a fan short of Mega Man that was put out.
A what?
Somebody put together a fan short of Mega Man. It looks like it was sponsored by Loot Crate of all things. It's a YouTube. Would you like to see what this is all about?
Sure.
It's only 4 minutes. We'll see if we can get through the whole thing. I have not seen this, but I was curious as soon as I heard about it. There it is. And like all good shorts, it starts with words saying it's an unofficial fan film. Don't sue me. I'm paraphrasing, of course. Loot Crate Battle. Is that like a death battle?
Oh no, that's their loot crate for this month.
Oh, okay. I was worried we were going to see Rainbow Dash take on Mega Man.
Where a small band of terrorists has taken local scientists hostage. Reports tell
With the fake news report, this reminds me a lot of RoboCop 2.
Secret materials being researched here. As you can see, police are trying to defuse the situation, but it's not.
Ooh, did she get shot?
More shots fired. We need more backup, damn it. Just one of these guys took out 5.
The short is interesting, but is it just me, or does Mega Man look kind of pudgy?
Yeah. Well,
A little bit, but it might be the armor.
So did Ryu as well, but whatever. You know,
Actually, he looks kind of like the Mega Man from the first box art.
These aren't super... Yeah, oh, God. Oh, wow.
You like that one, huh?
Yeah, actually, I'd forgotten. It took you saying that, and then I was thinking back and going, oh, yeah.
And it does look like Ryu's been hitting the sushi a little hard lately. I really like when Ryu's charging up with that fireball. The way his fingers are twiddling, it looks like he's jazz-handing up his fireball. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It
was engaging.
Yeah, it's a cute little thing. I don't know if I give it to anybody. You know, just one of those things. I'm not quite sure why I have this in here in the general media stuff, but I have Top Gun Galactica, scenes from the 2004 Battlestar Galactica series set to Top Gun music.
Huh. That sounds interesting.
You want that, or should I let that slide?
Sure.
I'm curious.
Okay. There it is.
Emo.
The fact that it starts off with that beginning theme of Top Gun is just unintentionally funny. V, you're hissing a little bit for some reason.
Better?
Ah, that's got a long prologue. A little, thank you. And there's all those ships that are doomed to failure. Unfortunately, this Top Gun music is actually working here.
Yeah.
Admiral. Greatest contact.
I want to know when they're going to get to Danger Zone.
Intercept course. Mr. Gita, sound action stations immediately. XO. I want everything that can fly up there immediately.
You know, the sad part is in watching this clip, I actually miss the series now. There it is. About a minute and a half in and it suddenly kicks up.
Yeah, I didn't transition too well.
Not terribly.
Is this pretty good with space flight music, though?
The sad part is, I'm looking at this, I'm almost like, okay, this works kinda, but what would it look like with the Robotech soundtrack?
Oh, yeah.
You know what? I'm actually getting those speakers while playing the RRT. Just start playing Robotech music as we're playing.
Oh, this is funny. I'm gonna shut this down for myself, but that's not bad. I might have to put that on my favorites list somewhere. That was pretty cool. So, have we all heard by now that Star Wars Episode 7 has an official subtitle?
It does?
Sounds familiar.
Yep, it is now Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
I see.
No.
Yes, it is. It is now Star Wars: The Force Awakens. The logo's on StarWars.com and everything.
Why is that the name of a bad Star Wars game?
I think it was the name of the first time Luke Skywalker masturbated. Really? That's funny? Out of all the stupid crap I say, that's the stuff that gets y'all to laugh? Wow.
We're fine.
Oh, we all have a juvenile sense of humor.
He has hair on his fourth hand. Jeez. No, there's actually been some supposed leaks of a scene of Darth Vader's attack on the Wickermans in Tatooine. What are the Wickermans?
No
I
idea.
have no idea.
The Tatooine scene is reportedly going to start with a ship landing in the desert. This ship will look like a mix between an Imperial shuttle and a sandcrawler. The storyboard shows the ship with guns on its short wings and a ramp resembling the Imperial shuttle's ramp. It's landing in a village resembling that of the photo leaked in August by Cinelinx. The ship opens and 2 stormtroopers and a figure cloaked in black ascend. According to Ward, what happens next shows the huts in the village in flames. More stormtroopers have apparently taken over the village. They continue to advance with flamethrowers, burning the village. One of the stormtroopers is seen on the ground bleeding as signs of a resistance begin. Lasers whip past their helmets depicting fierce resistance. So neither the stormtroopers or the rebels can shoot in this movie.
Should make it a little bit longer.
Yeah. It's believed the Wickermans are the resistance that the Imperial forces are dealing with. They have sniper rifles, which could explain the lasers firing back at stormtroopers. Making Star Wars describes the Wickermans as scary-looking aliens with white skeletal black eye sockets with little pinpoints or eyes. Its head looks pointed, but where a hairline would begin, there's pointy, wicker-like brambles sticking straight up. The alien possesses a sniper rifle with a scope on its barrel and looking like it has a rocket on it. This sounds kind of typical for what I know of Star Wars.
I almost thought you started describing the Turians from Mass Effect for a second there.
It says, despite the resistance, the villagers are said to be no match for the stormtroopers. According to Ward, the Tatooine storyboard for Star Wars The Force Awakens shows the entire village in flames as the incendiary troopers have done their work well. Likewise, a cloaked figure who is depicted as the villain Darth Vader is seen standing from a distance. He's seen with several stormtroopers watching Tatooine huts burn to the ground.
Well, that's dramatic.
I have no idea what to make of any of that.
Well, this is supposed to be after... Is this a prequel or a sequel?
Sequel. This would be after Return of the Jedi.
Right. So how is Darth Vader still alive?
I don't know. Maybe it's Luke Skywalker in a mask freaking out.
I don't know.
Resurrection. He wasn't really dead. He died off screen.
Remember, we found out last week that... we found out last week James Earl Jones is reprising his role as Darth Vader.
Yeah. I just thought that was more of a reprisal as far as flashbacks or something like that. Not that Darth Vader's actually alive.
The way you describe the scene sound like it might be a flashback for something else.
Yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't say. Mark Hamill actually had an interesting tweet this week, though. He actually retweeted a trailer for Empire Strikes Back that was recut by a man named Cameron Aragioni. I'm just going to send you the URL that I found this on Newsarama, because he actually attached the trailer he made. It looks like he remade The Empire Strikes Back as a modern movie trailer. I can't tell if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because I almost want to say that if it's anything like the Hunger Games, pull the ripcord. I'm done.
Why?
I hated that movie. I hated it so much I couldn't go on to any of the other sequels.
Really?
Yeah, it was very plotting and slow to me.
Huh, interesting.
I didn't think there was any real characterization throughout the movie. You had a bunch of people dying, and I had no emotional investment in any of them.
Well, they didn't, even in the book, they didn't really flesh out a lot of the characters. It was more just the situation that they were in.
Yeah, it was more science fiction-y than drama-y.
It's a little sad.
Although they dressed it up like it was supposed to be a drama, but...
Well, this particular trailer is actually pretty good. It pushes up the drama of the movie, which is arguably the best in the entire series right now. The Empire Strikes Back put a lot of the heroes on their heels.
Yeah.
I won't fail you. I'm not afraid.
Although it had the one most curious scene ever where C-3PO got shot for little or no reason.
No, he got shot for a completely valid reason.
If you go outside canon, absolutely. He deserved it then. It's not a bad trailer, although the music's a little out of place.
I'm not even... all I see is the movie poster. What is everybody else looking at?
Scroll down to the tweet. There's actually a playable video there.
Yeah, I can't play it.
Oh, maybe it's my...
Running no scripts again?
Always. Ah, there it is. Yep. That's why.
Well, I can't play it because I'm talking to you guys on my Xbox, and for some reason it doesn't know how to do this shit.
Okay. Well, how about this? I got something fun for you guys at the end of our general media section here.
Uh-huh.
I have a quiz that was put on iquiz.com. They call it the toughest Star Wars Episode 4 questions ever.
Huh.
Do you dare?
Shoot.
Okay, question number 1. Before every Star Wars movie begins, George Lucas generously provides a short prologue to update viewers of the events in the Star Wars galaxy. Who is the only main character mentioned in the rolling prologue that precedes the events of the original Star Wars film? Obi-Wan Kenobi, Darth Vader, Princess Leia, or Luke Skywalker?
Princess Leia.
Steve, do you have any other guesses?
I think it's a Vader.
V, do you have any ideas here? Oh my god, V's died.
What were the options again?
Obi-Wan Kenobi, Darth Vader, Princess Leia, or Luke Skywalker?
I'll go with Leia.
The answer is Princess Leia. Mention of Princess Leia occurs in the third paragraph of the prologue. Specifically, quote, pursued by the Empire's sinister agents, Princess Leia races home aboard her starship, custodian of the stolen plans that can save her people and restore freedom to the galaxy. Question number 2. The opening sequence of the original Star Wars film features a riveting battle between an Imperial Star Destroyer and a small freighter carrying Princess Leia. Aboard this freighter are R2-D2 and C-3PO. When we first see the two droids, who is accompanying them? Another protocol droid, Princess Leia Organa, Death Star droid, or another astromech droid?
I think it's another astromech.
Wait, what?
When we first see them in the movie for the first time?
No, it's a protocol droid.
Yeah, what's walking with them? Another astromech, a Death Star droid?
It's another protocol droid, I
Princess
think.
Leia?
Yeah,
it's another protocol droid.
It is another protocol droid, a silver one.
Yep, that's right.
Who is the first character to utter any kind of speech in the original Star Wars? R2-D2, Darth Vader, Princess Leia, or C-3PO?
I want to say R2-D2. But it might be
Steve?
C-3PO. Damn it.
You have to pick one.
I know, I'm going with R2-D2.
Steve?
No, I'm going to go with Darth Vader again.
The correct answer is C-3PO.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
He is the first lines, and he utters, "Did you hear that?" To which R2-D2 answers with, "Bleep, blip, bloop, blip, blip."
They actually...
I'm not sure that even counts as dialogue.
It does.
Well,
it
he did say with any kind of speech, and R2-D2 answered C-3PO's first question. So C-3PO spoke first.
Yeah.
Question number 4. In the last attempt to save the stolen rebel plans to the Death Star, Princess Leia downloads them into R2-D2's memory banks. R2 and C-3PO are then able to depart the freighter they are on using an escape pod. Why isn't their escape pod destroyed?
Because there were no life signs aboard.
That is correct.
Yep.
That one's too easy.
I want to stop giving you. I'm going to stop giving you the multiple choice and just see if you can answer them. Question 5. The lovely Princess Leia is unfortunately captured very early on in the film by the tyrannical Darth Vader, who claims her correctly to be a spy. Princess Leia denies this accusation, suggesting she is a member of the Imperial Senate on a diplomatic mission to which planet?
Alderaan.
Okay. So far, you guys have only missed one.
Yeah.
Question 6. Princess Leia tried to throw off her Imperial captors by telling them where the rebel base was located. What system did she send them to investigate?
Dantooine.
Okay. Nerding up hardcore. All right.
I take it that's correct.
Yep. Number 7. C-3PO has a penchant for name-calling when it comes to conversations with his little buddy R2-D2. During an argument just preceding their breakup after landing on Tatooine, C-3PO refers to R2-D2 by which cruel phrase?
Yeah, I'll need the multiple choice for that one.
Yeah, me too.
Undersized rust bucket. Pile of completely uncouth nuts and bolts. Round-headed galactic trash heap. Nearsighted scrap pile.
The first one.
First one.
Yeah. Jesse?
I have no idea.
Unfortunately, you got that wrong. He called him a nearsighted scrap pile.
Really?
Yep. Just before he kicked him in the bucket, if you recall.
He must have called him a rust bucket or rust something at some other point.
Yeah.
Because that sounds familiar.
Okay. Question 8. As far as the viewer is able to observe, which of the two droids is forcibly taken by the Jawas?
R2D2.
Yep.
R2.
Yep, that is correct. The Jawas make their way to the humble abode of Owen Lars and Beru Whiteson, aunt and uncle of one Luke Skywalker. The intention of the Jawas is to sell several droids to this humble little family. Most importantly, it seems, is that they purchase a translator who speaks which language?
Oh, crap.
Fuck. I know this.
The
sad part-
hydroponics, give me the
Moisture evaporators.
Yeah.
The choices are Bachi, Bothan, Huttese, and Shiriuk.
Bachi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is Bachi.
There's no way it'd be Shiriwook. That's Chewbacca.
I took this test myself and got 14 out of 15, unfortunately. Question number 10 is a true or false. R2-D2 is among the initial two choices made by Owen Lars for purchase.
No.
No. False.
They had to bargain
That is
for
correct.
him.
Well, they didn't bargain for him. If you remember,
well.
they picked
Red one-
R5-D4
the one
first.
got fried.
Who blew a motivator. Actually, that sounds awful. It makes it sound like he's behind the Jawa ship blowing a motivator. When Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi first meet Captain Han Solo, Solo tells him that his ship, the Millennium Falcon, has made what run in less than what parsec?
Kessel run in less than...
Too easy.
Yeah.
You didn't answer the second part.
Oh, and how many?
In less than...
15 parts.
In less than how many?
15
I
parts.
forget the number.
I think
15.
it was 4.
12?
15.
V takes a prize. It is 12 parsecs.
Ah. Even though that's a unit of length, not time.
Yeah. There's been arguments for that, but I don't know them.
Okay. On board the Death Star, R2-D2 locates where Princess Leia is being held prisoner. Where does C-3PO tell Luke where to find her?
Detention level?
Yeah, detention level 4?
They're looking for the specific answer.
Well, multiple choice then. I think it's pretty sure it's detention level 4.
Level 1138, detention blocks THX. Level 5, detention blocks TK421. Level 5, detention block 326-3827. Level 5, detention block AA23.
TK421?
Third one.
Jesse takes it. Detention block AA23.
Yeah, the rest of them sound like acronyms for other things, like THQ.
TK421 was another... was like
it was in the movie, but if you remember, those were the guards who were on the Millennium Falcon, and their commander starts yelling at him, TK421, why aren't you at your post?
Right.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. There's only a few more. Question number 13 has, in Stormtrooper disguise, Luke and Han pretend they have a Wookiee prisoner and tell Princess Leia's guards Chewbacca is a prisoner transfer from where?
So block.
D?
Yeah.
No. Jesse?
Transfer from...
I have no idea.
I don't remember.
Prisoner transfer from cell block 1138.
Oh, right.
Which is a joke on THX 1138, another one of George Lucas's movies.
Huh.
Question 14. When our heroes escape the Death Star, they are pursued by TIE fighters. Han and Luke man the Falcon's quad's laser turrets. How many did Luke shoot down?
2.
Yeah, I'm good with 2.
That was a good direct answer, and that is absolutely correct. Last question. When Luke destroys the Death Star, how many ships escape the blast?
Initially?
How many?
No, altogether.
How many
ships escape the blast of the Death Star?
I have no idea.
5 include the Millennium Falcon?
Yeah.
3X, 1Y, and the Millennium Falcon.
No. Steve?
Really? Then I'm going to say 4.
Yeah.
Well, there were a whole bunch more, like a bunch of wings and stuff that weren't in for the
final scene.
Unfortunately, Steve, you're not correct. V, any guesses as to how many ships escaped and what those ships were?
Well, there's also Darth Vader's ship.
Right.
That escaped. I don't know the direct count. I'm thinking 3. I have no idea. It's either 3 or 13.
Actually, you were halfway there. The total answer is 5. Darth Vader's TIE Fighter, Luke's X-Wing, the Millennium Falcon, a Y-Wing fighter, and Wedge Antilles' damaged X-Wing.
Right.
there were other ships out there, but they weren't the ones involved in the firefight. They were the second wave.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's why I was saying 4, but I forgot about Darth Vader.
Yep. So that's what they call. That's what iQuiz calls the toughest Star Wars quiz ever.
This is fun.
Tough at
We should
all.
do nerd quizzes more often.
Yeah.
Some of those aren't tough at all.
Some of them
Yeah, but
weren't.
some of them were. That's a good
Yeah,
quiz.
well, we should move on to Marvel comic news. I've been following the Avengers for a while, and right now they're in a storyline called Time Runs Out, where time has jumped forward by about 9 months. The new Avengers are criminals. Captain America is leading S.H.I.E.L.D.'s forces trying to hunt them down, and it seems like the Avengers right now are off on a pretty much a suicide mission, and their field leader is Sunspot. It's been announced this week that in September, or not in September, I'm sorry, it's been announced this week that as of issue 17, Avengers World will start filling in the gap in between when Sunspot came in charge and the points prior. This is kind of important because what we found out is in this time jump, Thor is missing his arm, the Sentry has grown a beard, Sunspot's in charge, Smasher and Cannonball had a baby.
Really?
Whoa.
Yeah. And part of that put Smasher in direct conflict with the Imperial Guard she works for. So there's a story that needs to be told here.
Yeah.
Not only that, part of the new Avengers, the Outlaws, Captain Britain.
Really?
Yeah, Ryan Braddock himself.
Huh.
Missing an eye and growing a beard. Something serious happened. But it was also announced this week that Guardians of the Galaxy, you know their series is doing well since that movie came out, right?
Of course.
They're getting 2 additional series. Not 1, 2 more series on the team. One of them is not that much of a surprise because it's based on the new animated property that we heard was coming. But we found out that the second issue is actually the second series is actually an expansion on the Guardians of the Galaxy series. It's going to be more about their part of the Marvel Universe and how they fit into the larger 616 as a whole.
Cool.
The second series is going to be called Guardians Team Up, which has the in-continuity series Guardians of the Galaxy teaming up with various Marvel heroes.
Got hit Spider-Man at least once.
Oh, Spider-Man and Rocket Raccoon? Oh, hell yeah, man. Sign me up. You know, I would love to see an entire group of books where the Rocket Raccoon was threatening the Punisher like he did in Original Sin. Oh, you should have seen it. The Punisher was walking around with this big M16 with a rocket launcher. He looks down at Rocket Raccoon. And he says, I don't know if I call that impressive. And Rocket looks up at him in his rifle and says, you think that's a big gun? How cute. But I only have one more story from Marvel Comic News, and it spun my head around, frankly. Because one of my favorite living wrestlers is writing in a story in Thor Annual #1.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yep. Phil Brooks, a.k.a. CM Punk, is writing part of the story. He's been out of wrestling rather dramatically. He suddenly up and quit last January. And there's always rumors that he's going to make a sudden or shock return, but now that he's writing comics and finding other things to do with his time, that becomes less and less likely. He's an angry guy, but he's a smart guy. You know, if you listen to his promos, he definitely has a lot of himself in his character. And when he's upset, he lets everybody know it. So, I am curious to read this now. So hope it isn't a story where Thor, like, DDT's Odin through something. DC Comic News. Will Pfeiffer is officially bringing the new Power Girl to the Teen Titans books. Will Pfeiffer is the writer of the current Teen Titans series and has officially said that the new Power Girl, Karen Starr, is going to be a member of the team. They even released a cover that looks to be her as part of the team with Wonder Girl, Beast Boy, Raven, and Bunker. No mention of Superboy in the series.
Darn.
Why? Why do you darn Superboy not being in it?
No, I was being facetious.
Oh, okay. They did give this new Power Girl a new costume that's different from anything I've seen before. There's no boob window in it.
That's
Okay, I
unique.
think it's a step up.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's one of those things where you almost gotten used to the words Power Girl and boob, and it's not occurring here. I think that's a good thing. I sent you guys a URL so you can take a look.
And that's
as far as
Manchester Black back there.
I think so.
Is she the one on the left or the right?
The left. The right is the current Wonder Girl.
Ah.
Actually, as far as Power Girl costumes go, that's a good compromise. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've never been a fan of Afro Puffs, but it's a good costume. I'm not quite sure what else to say from there. It actually covers you from head to toe. It looks like you're ready for a fight, but it's not like she's wearing plate armor or anything. It's a
it's
good design.
Yeah.
Functional.
And it has a circle in the right place to emulate Boob Window, but it's not that stupid. So I'd go with that. DC did decide to put out what they call a FAQ regarding their new event, the Convergence, which shows characters from different dimensions of the DCU, including the New 52 and the Pre-52, which somehow survived all this. They're saying that the New 52 universe is not a dream, and they don't appear to want to go backwards to the Pre-52. However, some characters from Pre-52 may make a more prominent and more regular appearance in the New 52. That confuses the piss out of me just saying it.
Yeah, I was confused.
I think the multiverse stuff is kind of a headache. It's like trying to think about time travel.
Right, this almost seems like a have your cake and eat it too scenario, because DC gets to claim that they are going forward with their progressive reboot, but at the same time they're going to put out series based on the prior one to make sure that they please everybody without actually pleasing everyone on the whole.
Oh, that's...
Now you're going to have... It's going to seem like the Republican Party and the Tea Party. You know, they're supposed to be working together, but instead now you've got fans of two different groups who are probably going to start yelling about which is the more the proper and better DC universe, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's not rent the Star Trek world asunder so far.
I know, but comic book fans tend to be more passionate and less open to compromise.
That's true. Or that may be true, I should say.
Do we need to go back to the whole one woman and pants thing again?
Oh, no, I can't go backwards to that because I've made my point perfectly clear. They've also released a new fact as to the supporting characters in Batman's current universe. This dude, I would think somebody would call him on how many kids he hangs out with.
Okay. Shoot.
Okay. According to another fact that was released by Newsarama regarding the current generation of Batman allies, you have his son, Damian Wayne. You have Calvin Rose, a former Talon for the Court of Owls. You have Duke Thomas, who came out during the Zero-Year storyline and was shown in a recent Future Imperfect episode in a Robin costume. You have Harper Row, who becomes the Bluebird with that freaky electro rifle. Colin Rowe, her brother, which may also play some kind of supporting character and may be the new Lark sidekick we've seen. Stephanie Brown, who is still the spoiler but not been a Batgirl. Annie Aguila, who is a motorcycle rider who coincidentally wears a motorcycle outfit that looks like Robin colors and may actually be seen more. We have Luke Fox, Lucius Fox's son, who is the Batwing. Bet Kane, which is a sidekick for Batwoman in previous life, but now goes under the name Hawkfire. Olive Silverlock from Gotham Academy, who may have a connection to somehow a distant ancestor of the line of the Penguin and the Cobblepots. Helena Bertinelli, who's a spy, but is also the name of the Earth 2 Huntress, the daughter of Bruce Wayne. Cassandra Cain, who's going to be reappearing soon, if the Batman Future's End is any indication. Tiffany Fox, another Fox child who may be a future Batgirl. Carrie Kelly, who may be reappearing in the books, who's recently been in as an actress, and as we know in The Dark Knight Returns, was the Robin from the future. And Julia Pennyworth, who I believe is the daughter of Alfred and has recently taken on some spy duties both for and against Batman. Frick, dude, someone call Child Support Services. There's a madman out there with a bunch of kids and they keep coming back bruised. You know, that's a hell of a difference from quick dick to the bat holes.
Oh my.
Quick, Robin, the Bat Lube.
Ew.
No, I'm serious. That was actually in the Super Friends episode.
They did have a Bat Lube in their utility belt. Yep. He's quite correct. Yep. Holy shit, thighs, Batman!
Oh my god.
We do have a little bit of general comic news. Not a whole lot. There is a book coming out that's going to be the untold history of black comic books. It's going to illuminate a few corners of comic book history that are very much forgotten, and I think it's coming out via IDW Press. I did not know there were actual comic books out there about the Montgomery story of Martin Luther King Jr. There was a character called Fats Willie Jackson, and there was even an old, it looked like 40s comic book called Negro Heroes that highlighted Jackie Robinson for an issue. That's one of those things that I'm interested in, but I don't know if I spend money on because it's. I think I may get a culture shock from it.
How so?
You know what I mean? It's one of those things I acknowledge as far as racial divides and problems, but it's also it's kind of weird to see a bunch of covers that actually have Negro heroes and Negro romance and all Negro comics right up there on the cover. You know what I mean? That is just not the world I live in.
Yeah.
But these were actual published books. The only other piece I have in general comic news is an interesting one. Do you know that one superhero sold $1.3 billion in toys and merchandise last year?
Really?
Yeah. It should be easy for you to guess which one, I would imagine.
Batman?
Actually, he came in a distant second at $454 million.
Groot?
Spider-Man.
No, it is Spider-Man. Sold $1.3 billion in toys and merchandise. Some people said, how could that be? Batman's much more recognizable, but some have argued that, Batman kind of sad and crazy when you boil it quite down. Spider-Man is more happy-go-lucky and a little more mentally balanced.
Yeah. He's funnier.
Some people did take umbrage to the comparison of the top two for both companies as to what sells what. Because it turns out that Spider-Man sells $1.3 billion in toys. The next up for Marvel is the Avengers property, which sells just over $300 million worth of stuff. Now, the surprising part wasn't for me that DC Comics' lead was Batman at $454 million. What surprised me was that their secondary biggest property, guess which one that was?
Superman?
Yes. Here's the thing I didn't expect. He sold less than $300 million worth of property last year. Now, some people said, that's a foul. The Avengers are a team. Well, the Avengers are a team for a reason because they're not Superman. And besides which, now people are identifying general brands of Avengers. It's like, what's Iron Man? He's an Avenger. What's Captain America? He's an Avenger. What's the Hulk? He's a very angry Avenger. But none of them are the all-high perfect being that Superman portrays himself as. So I do think you need kind of a team to take on their adventure. But like I said, it's subjective. I'm just surprised that Superman didn't sell as much as Batman. I know Batman... Well, I guess I shouldn't be that surprised. I guess I'm that surprised that there's that much of a gap between Superman and Batman.
Well, I think Batman's got more press available, mainly through games currently.
And more Batlube. We'll move on to anime and Japan news. There was a crossing signal installed in Kanagawa Prefecture outside Tokyo. Kind of shocked people.
Uh-oh.
Not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. It's not like it was panties or anything. Check it out for yourself. I would love to see these out there.
Huh.
They actually installed Astro Boy walk signals in Kanagawa.
Oh.
It's actually kind of cute.
Yeah.
And it's very obvious when you're supposed to stop and walk, I'll say that for sure. I think it's pretty cool. It was also revealed that, Assassin's Creed has become this global phenomenon, right? Out in Akihabara, they actually set up the Assassin's Creed parkour obstacle course. It is freaking everywhere, isn't it? Not only was there an obstacle course, they actually had a phone app where people were supposed to run through Akihabara to reach from one end to the other. They timed them. That's a good way to get advertising. Not only do you get attention for the game, you get them out and active. Although the prize for being number one, I don't know who that was given to. I'm not sure if I'd call it a prize because basically he got a mirror ball and a chain. And I guess a phone. It's very bizarre to me. Yeah, I guess. The whole thing was put up by Octopus Stealth, a collaboration event between Ubisoft and Microsoft in promotion of AC Unity's Xbox One release. 100 randomly chosen gamers stalked the streets of Akihabara in search of artifacts through use of an iBeacon smartphone app. That sounds pretty cool, actually.
A massive. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like they made Assassin's Creed come to life without the stabbing. That's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah.
It's also been promoted that there's a new Digimon series coming, and they put out a silhouette of some of the characters involved. It looks like they're going to have the cast of the original Digimon series grown up as part of the new Digimon adventure.
Huh.
As long as it isn't Mimi.
You know that she was part of the original cast, man.
I know.
Okay, well, I guess you won't be watching this one.
No.
I'll give it a shot.
I don't know how much I give it. There's also a Kickstarter currently out trying to fund an English adaptation of Clannad.
Huh?
Anybody know what Clannad is?
Clannad.
What is Clannad? I've never watched it.
It's one of those started out as a dating sim.
So wait, you're saying it's one of those slice of life animes?
If they're specifically talking about the anime, then yeah, it was probably a partial harem that turned into him choosing one girl in particular.
Huh.
But it was originally one of the, it wasn't. I don't think it was an eroge, but it was a dating sim.
Okay. Well, yeah, there's a Kickstarter out for an English translation to this series. Let me see, I'm opening it up. It has 54 days to go. It ends on January 9th, 2015. God, that seems far away. Has 2,606 backers. The goal, they say, to do this would be $140,000. Fuck, they already have $221,495.
Wow.
Well, I guess there's a new English series coming. There's an interesting graphic I found on Kotaku that details the how art in anime has changed over decades. I'm going to send you the first one because this is a pretty clear indication. It starts out with where anime is at now, and then it ages it backwards about 10-year increments back to the 1980s. My God, anime was different way back when. I guess I shouldn't be that surprised. I watched it, but at the same time, I'm still a little astonished on how much the characters' models have changed.
Yeah, it's starting to get very angular.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the older stuff more.
Well, how about this? I have a secondary graphic they put up that shows the difference of anime characters from the 60s to current. Check this out. It starts from the 1960s with Astro Boy, coincidentally enough. But you can see how the character's eyes became less and less angular, or I guess you could say more and more angular as things went by.
Yeah.
Everything started out very round.
And the proportions were different in the original things. The eyes are a whole lot smaller in comparison to the faces.
Early animes at that time was mostly inspired by Disney, actually.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And it was a more realistic, but then they switched over to the larger eyes because they were more expressive.
Yeah, but then Disney started emulating anime towards the middle of the 2000s.
Yeah.
You could say they were following the fad of the time, though. It's interesting to see where it all came down to.
It's interesting to see which ones they picked.
I know, but the face of Bloodberry in the middle of the 90s kind of sticks out as a very big anomaly there.
Yeah. Wait.
Was that Bloodberry? No,
that's not Bloodberry. Yeah, that's Mai Shiranui. I was like, wait, where's Bloodberry?
Wow.
But yeah, they got, Magic Knight Ray Earth, Sailor Moon. I recognize that one right after Ray Earth, but I don't...
That's Firebomber from Macross 7.
Oh, okay, yeah. I just still haven't watched.
I'm going to catch up.
Yeah, I'm not going to dig into that. Remember we talked about how Sailor Moon inspired Lingerie by Peach John?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
My God, they weren't the only ones.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to send you this and see if you can guess what inspired this particular piece of lingerie.
Well, I have no clue.
Yeah.
Not really clicking, eh?
No, I got it.
How about this? Here's a picture of it on a pair of people, actually.
Oh, that was easy.
Really? Okay.
What do you mean by really? What is this?
No, No, I'm done with this topic.
Well, this is called the Close Sisters bra. It is not an official Frozen product.
I didn't think so, but at the same time...
Oh, that's what's happening.
The hearts on the skirts are a little disturbing. Because I don't know people that want to get that close to actually, match up their hearts. I don't know why you need to do this.
Yeah, they're a little creepy.
Yeah. Hayao Miyazaki is getting an honorary Oscar for Lifetime Achievement. He recently made an interesting statement about his retirement. Quote, "I'm going to continue making anime until I die," unquote.
So
that certainly seems to be the way he's going.
Unretiring again or something?
No, it was a rumor, apparently. They misquoted him before.
Yeah, he says he likes creating stories and drawing pictures, and then he said, quote, "It's something I wanted to do when I was a student. It's about a samurai in the 16th century wearing full armor, battling it out with each other. I was very dissatisfied with the way that era was depicted in fiction and film, so I wanted to draw something that would reflect the way I thought that era should look. The great director Akira Kurosawa filmed his films in large open spaces like golf courses, and there weren't those large open spaces in Japan," unquote. He's talking about a new project he's working on. So, there you go. We're going to get more Miyazaki.
Nice.
It may not be Studio Ghibli necessary, but we're going to get more. Speaking of endings, Masashi Kishimoto recently had a statement. He's the guy who created the Naruto, correct?
I guess.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, he is the creator. And he said he's going to create more manga.
Well, they already talked about doing a...
He's already said there's a new Naruto series coming in 2015, yeah. It's already coming.
Didn't that just finish or something?
Yep.
The Japanese release, yes. The manga just finished, and a lot of people said, finally, it's over. And then at the very end of the series, you flip the page, and it basically said, more to come in 2015. And a lot of people went, great! And a few more went, fuck!
I'm pretty sure someone said called bullshit.
I'm sure there's a few that went, great fuck! Last thing I have in anime in Japan news, there's an actual maid cafe you can go to get your ass kicked.
Of course there is.
It makes sense.
If you go to Cafe CC Ocha, located in Osaka's Nipponbashi, the cafe actually has an option on the menu for visitors to get your butt literally kicked by a maid.
By a maid?
Yeah, in other words, you get on all fours in front of her, and she winds up and gives you a heel kick to the coccyx. Why would you pay somebody to kick you in the rear end?
There's some
because you're into
interesting
that.
tastes out there. Yes, because you're into that.
There's actual videos of where one guy says, "I'm a total perv," while the cafe staffer is saying, "You're speaking Japanese, right?" In the clip, she told him to be a dog and say he was a hentai dude. And because dogs can't talk, she's getting more upset.
Of course.
I like Japanese culture. I don't like this. All of a sudden I'm the horse from Ren and Stimpy. No, sir, I don't like it.
Well, I didn't like that show, so...
I'm not going to that particular place. We'll move into... we'll go to nerd interest news. Did you know that telepathy is now technically possible now?
Really?
You read that article.
Yes. Two men who were not in the same place where they had electrodes hooked up to their brain and it was sending signals between the two of them. One man, without being in the same room as the second, was actually able to see what he was watching on TV.
Whoa.
Isn't that cool?
That is crazy.
That makes it sound like the Excel World implants are on their way. You know what I mean?
Oh, man.
Just think of the business potential.
Yeah. Now, according to a diagram, the sender of an image, or the sender of whatever he's viewing, is recorded by EEG of his brain activity. hand motor imagery is detected, sent over the internet, and sent to the receiver, or the second person via brain stimulation using a TMS. I don't quite know what a TMS is, but what we found out is that telepathy is very possible from a technological standpoint.
Nice.
So we could create Mento.
You can create what?
We can create a fresh maker?
No, I thought that was a guy from Doom Patrol.
It is, but every time I hear Mento, all I can think is somebody smiling with the Swedish candies. The fresh maker. That's the candy you eat and you can get away with robbing somebody, basically. No, I mean, this is a very interesting technological jump. It's just, you start getting into the ethical aspects of it.
Right.
Whether or not someone's going to.
Well, I mean, it depends on if the person's if you're voluntarily sharing information, then
God, I hope so.
But yeah, because what happens if there's no way to keep that out? Everybody gets one of these things, and now all of a sudden, some people are forcibly transmitting stuff to other people.
Yeah.
It takes a whole new meaning to hacking the wireless, doesn't
or
it?
stealing images from other people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, can you just imagine the trolling with this technology?
Meatspin.com takes on a whole new meaning.
Oh, really? You want to talk about hate spin? Apple is a little bit pissed off.
Uh-oh.
There's a judge who ordered that in the midst of... There's a lawsuit going on between Apple and Squillier. I'm sorry, Daniel Squillier, who's the COO of GT Advanced Technologies. It's a New Hampshire-based company.
Mm-hmm.
They sought bankruptcy protection last month because they weren't able to provide Sapphire lenses and screens for Apple devices. The deal technically went south. Apple kind of pulled out on the deal, and it caused them to go under. They didn't have the revenue to keep going. Out of the lawsuit, Squillier wanted to see some of Apple's documents that they sent them in regards to the deal, and Apple's been refusing for a while. Well, the judge said, screw that, as part of the case. You need to turn over the unredacted documents. Turns out part of the unredacted documents, one Apple rep sent to GT Advanced Technologies the phrase, "It's time for you to put on your big boy pants." Apple is starting to gain a very serious reputation for being kind of a bully to their suppliers. If you can't do this, somebody else is going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Something of that nature. Or if you can't do it for my price, I'll find it with someone else. Some people have also accused them of bait and switch tactics when it comes to their deals. Among the highlights, when GT initially entered into negotiations to sell Sapphire furnaces to Apple, it had no sense that this relationship would become a heads I win, tails you lose proposition. With bait and switch strategy, Apple presented GT&T with an onerous and massively one-sided deal. What ensued was anything but an arm's length negotiation. Apple simply dictated the terms and conditions of the deal to GT&T. And when GT&T's management expressed their obvious concerns to Apple regarding the deal terms during the contract negotiations, Apple responded with that similar terms are required for other Apple suppliers, and that GT&T should, quote, put on your big boy pants and accept the agreement, unquote.
That's not a deal.
Apple hates that these statements are put out and says it puts Apple in a negative light.
Well, because it's rather negative.
But yeah, I was going to say, if you don't want Apple to be put in a negative light, don't make statements that stupid.
Yeah.
Right.
Ever. Astronomers have caught a stellar pulse with the Hubble telescope.
It
was taken in February 2004. They call it a light echo, which illuminate dust around a supergiant star, V838 Monocerotis. It's one of those images that frankly belongs on a wall. I'd like to send you the GIF because I have a moving GIF, but I will send you the picture instead. This is one of those things that would inspire kids to look at the stars, frankly.
Ooh, wow.
Ooh, that's pretty.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous picture.
Almost
like
yin-yang.
It looks like two dragons fighting.
Yeah, actually, I got that.
Wait, I didn't take a good look at that. Holy crap, yeah. It looks like Toothless is going at it with something else in that movie. Well, I'll send you the GIF and see if you can see it, because it's on the story I found on Business Insider, and it shows the expanding gases and, not gases, the light wave. It's freaking awesome.
To me, it kind of reminds me of the Ouroboros.
This makes me want to become an astronomer.
Snake eating its own tail. That's what it reminds me of.
Mm-hmm.
Well, some of the later stills, it shows like this almost jagged cloud of dust being illuminated. It almost looks like something from a Doctor Who episode, frankly. It's very cool, though. Don't mistake me. I'm not poo-pooing it. I think it's awesome. Speaking of awesome, there's an Atlas robot that can do a crane stance. Boston Dynamics has built a robot with algorithms developed by Florida's Institute for Human and Machine Cognition. This thing can not only stand on one leg while weighing 330 pounds, apparently it might be able to dance a little too. Do you want the YouTube?
Yes.
I want a dancing robot.
There, sent. It's actually standing on one leg in an elevated position. And it's standing there while moving around. It's got pretty good balance.
I'm at like less than 20% volume, and this thing is still loud as hell.
I don't hear much of anything. I think I've muted it. That's probably why. This is very nifty, though. Oh, look, he can do a crane kick. Well, what do you think, V? I think our robot overlords are going to be pretty good at kung fu.
Right?
That's very cool.
Well, as long as they don't try to turn us into very inefficient batteries, I think we're good.
Yeah. There was a fire in Bangkok back on October 14th, and it wiped out a very serious operation.
Oh?
Yeah, have you ever heard of cowboy miners?
Maybe.
Okay, I sent you a URL of the fire, and take a look at this damage.
Ooh.
That's ugly, I would say.
Yeah.
Right?
That looks like a server room, right?
Yeah, but it's more serious than you think. The cowboy miners are a bunch of European expatriates in Bangkok. Every one of those machines that you see there completely burned out, they're Bitcoin miners.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So unfortunately, their entire business looked like it was wiped out. I have a picture of what it looks like whole, but it's not, it won't tell you much more than it's already been said. So this is basically a bunch of Europeans who were making their bones in Bitcoins, and I would guess if they made any money off it, they're going to need just about all they probably made to rebuild this operation. Bitcoin miners can cost upwards of about $700 per machine.
Yeah.
And then there's the power involved in actually mining Bitcoins. It's not cheap.
If anything, they'd have to start small and go back up.
Yeah,
I mean,
unfortunately.
It depends on if because they can store Bitcoins locally. You're taking a risk if you store it through a company, because like that one company got raided.
Yeah.
So if they were storing it locally, hopefully that wasn't destroyed, or they may have lost all their Bitcoins that they did mine.
Yeah, I know. It's a sad situation. I hope they land on their feet.
Yeah.
At least they weren't doing anything illegal. Have you guys ever heard of Zach Mahalovic?
Nope.
Don't think so.
Okay. He's a guy who went through his own time and trouble and built an extremely accurate 1989 Batmobile.
Oh. Nice.
He showed a few videos of him after the finished product was done. He actually got offers by different people for $2 or $3 million for his Batmobile.
Wow.
Damn.
He's a 29-year-old man. And do you know what he told those people?
Hell no.
Not just hell no. He didn't tell them hell no. He said, no, I can't do that. He promptly put on a Batman costume and used the car for what it was meant for.
Solving crime?
No, he's visiting sick children in Australian
Oh,
hospitals.
fuck yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm dead serious. That's not a joke, and I'm not putting you on. He actually built this thing as a hobby, but he decided to put it to use as entertaining sick kids in hospitals.
Awesome.
That man can have.
I thought you said he. I totally thought you were going to say he put on the Batman suit and said, "I'm Batman." But
he puts on a very Chris Nolan style Batman costume, but he does drive it around to a few hospitals in the area.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So power to that guy, man. He's better than all of us. And I have a Destiny cosplayer that actually looks like an android.
Okay.
Shoot.
He decided to pretend to look like an Exo Hunter, and oh my god, he's creeping me the frick out.
That looks
That is
like
a
some
well-built
good
helmet.
cosplay.
Nice.
Wow.
Not only that, I'll send you the second picture here. This was done by cosplayer Redner, a.k.a. Eric Barclay. Check out the second picture. He does look like he's just about to threaten you, doesn't he? But it's an awesome cosplay. I invite you to check it out. You can find the pictures on Kotaku. And speaking of video game emulation, Assassin's Creed Unity, no secret it's out, and it has a new weapon in this particular game. I think it was called a Phantom Blade.
Yeah.
The people at Man-at-Arms are forgists who like to make very accurate replicas of video game weaponry.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, saw that.
Yeah, they created one of the Assassin's Creed Phantom Blades that is sharp enough to puncture and kill a soda bottle.
Yep. Well, as all their swords are.
Yep, with a functioning launcher.
Yep. Here, I sent you the GIF of him basically killing Mountain Dew.
I don't know why, but that is hilarious to me. Killing soda.
Oh. Yeah, maybe Sprite, but, maybe this is his way of keeping down calories.
Actually, that looks like ginger ale, just to be perfectly...
Yeah, that does look like ginger ale.
He's killing redheads?
They have no souls.
Steve, watch out.
Oh.
Last bit of...
I'm a daywalker.
Well, no, I think he means run faster than Red Sonja.
Oh.
The last bit of general nerd interest I have is that I have an excerpt from the Dungeons Master Guide for the 5th edition of Dungeons & Dragons, some of the more unusual wondrous items.
Uh-huh. Oh.
Let me see. We have, it shows a few pages. It shows things like adamantine armor, an alchemy jug, ammunition of a +1, 2, or 3, amulet of health, amulet of proof against detection and location, amulet of the plains, an animated shield,
okay,
an apparatus of qualish.
Yeah, always got to have that.
So these are just a few examples of pages they have. They put these up on Kinja. So a lot of these descriptors sound pretty good. It really does sound like, based on our past conversations in these pages, they spent a while trying to think about how to make this fit into all systems and play styles.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. Lastly, we have our WTF corner. We talk about the things that just make us go, what the fuck happened here?
How do we make it this far?
Really? I guess even mascots can get bored at NFL games.
Oh,
I guess a few others are just really eager to watch the game. Last week, the Seattle Seahawks were at home, and they took on the New York Giants.
Mm-hmm.
And before anything happens, there's a hawk that they have named Taima, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Taima flies through the tunnel ahead of the team and out and around and comes back to its handler. Before the game last weekend, Taima decided, fuck this, I don't feel like working right now, and landed on Lady Fan's shoulder, I guess to sit down and watch the game. I sent you guys a URL so you can take a look, and it's literally a twit pic of this lady leaning over as if to say, this is awesome, get it off me. And the bird just staring out the field like, great, where's my beer?
Looks like a very content bird, too.
Maybe he flew up there because he's a closet Giants fan and just didn't want to tell anybody. But he does look like he just said, hey, how's it going? It's a nice view. I like it here.
Are there going to be any, mice or rodents running around the field? Excellent.
Yeah. Get me a couple mice and get me the name of that sparrow. She's hot.
Wait, no, they eat them.
Well, spicy then. I also have a graphic of common misconceptions, like 52 of the world's most contagious falsehoods.
Ooh.
There's some interesting stuff in here. Yeah, let me see. An electric fan at night. A big myth in South Korea is that this is deadly. Very unlikely to harm you unless you put your fan in the bed. There's also a myth out there that sharks can't get cancer. According to the graphic, they do get cancer. Particularly, they're very susceptible to skin cancer.
That's
Makes
weird.
sense.
Black holes are not really holes, but hugely dense objects with massive gravitational pull.
If you're any kind of sci-fi nerd, you know that.
Yeah.
How about this? Napoleon wasn't as short as a lot of the videos and storytellers make him out to be. He was actually 5'7".
Really?
Huh.
Yeah, he was above average height for a Frenchman of his time.
I knew that.
I wonder why they depict him as short.
I don't know. You know how the Great Wall of China is visible from space?
No.
It is not.
It's not, so stop talking about it. A lot of people say bananas grow on trees. They don't. They actually grow on massive herbs that resemble trees.
That I didn't know.
Here's one that I've seen people use, but apparently is bullshit. Oil stops stuck pasta.
What?
Wait.
Oil. Some people put oil in pasta to stop it from sticking to the side of the pot or pan.
Oh, yeah, I did that. Have
Turns
done
out
that.
it doesn't work. It'll stop the water from foaming or boiling over, but as far as sticking pasta, it doesn't do dick.
Yeah. I always used salt.
Let me see. Body heat in the head. You know how a lot of people say most of your body heat comes out through the head?
Mm-hmm.
That's only true in infants. Or if the head is the only uncovered part of the body.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't know that Vikings didn't wear horned helms.
I knew that.
Yeah, no, that was the English trying to demonize them.
Yeah. How about this for a comic thing? You know how a lot of people say bats are blind?
No,
They're not.
They're
Well,
not.
they're not, very
but
well.
They're very nearsighted.
Yeah.
So apparently we're good at this.
They can see okay, but echolocations is added. Salieri hating Mozart was apparently bullshit as well.
That was a rumor, and it was mostly trumped up for the movie.
Yeah. Iron Maidens are fake.
Knew that. Actually, so are a lot of other torture devices, as I recall.
Don't touch baby birds is also a misnomer.
Oh, really?
The thing about birds having a sense of smell, they smell humans on a baby, so they'll abandon it. Turns out birds have such a limited sense of smell, they can't tell the difference.
Ah.
There's a falsehood that Einstein failed at math.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, he failed an entrance exam for his school, but still excelled in math.
Makes
Everybody
you wonder what kind of
fails
entrance
exams.
exam they were offering.
How about this? This is one I didn't know. The fact that we have 5 senses is bullshit.
I knew that.
Really?
I didn't know that. Yeah. They said we actually have close to 20, including balance, pain, movement, hunger, thirst, and so on.
Well, that makes sense, yeah.
Cops don't have to identify themselves if they're undercover.
Yeah, that's a weird
Yeah.
one to me. Why anyone would think that was a thing.
Chastity belts. The fact that they exist is not bullshit. It's what people think they exist for. Chastity belts are not anti-adultery devices. They were invented by prudes in the 19th century to prevent dangerous masturbation.
And here I thought it was to protect against the enemy. Like rape.
Yeah, it turns out to stop people from touching themselves. Let me see. Shaving thickening hair is bullshit.
Huh?
Heard about that?
Oh, yeah. The fact that the more
Yeah.
you shave, the more it grows back.
Yeah, it turns out regrown hair isn't thicker or coarser or darker. It just appears so because it's no longer tapered. I always wondered about how shaving supposedly would change your genetics to make you grow more hair. Sugar equals hyperactivity. Studies disprove this. ADHD and poor behavior still occur in children with sugar-free diets.
That makes sense. Some people are just energetic.
Yeah, left brain and right brain is bullshit. According to this, there's no solid division between the talents of each hemisphere. Left brain can learn right brain functions and vice versa.
Yep, knew that.
Alcohol keeping you warm is bullshit.
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah, no.
Mythbusters on that.
Yep.
Yeah. This is one that kind of surprised me. According to this graphic, the 3 wise men,
Mm-hmm.
that's bullshit. According to the graphic, nowhere in the New Testament does it specify there were 3.
Oh, really? Interesting.
That's what it says here.
Okay.
I'm going to have to take its word for it.
Humans using only 10% of their brain is a misunderstood metaphor.
Yeah.
Yep.
The proportion of our brain firing is task-dependent. All cells are important.
Right.
Another Mythbuster thing he did.
That and Lucy.
Alcohol killing brain cells. Only heavy users and alcoholics who rely on alcohol to get most of their calories.
Yeah, I read about that.
The adage of no sex before a big game. No evidence sex impairs athletic performance. Could even help athletes due to increased testosterone. Oh, how about this? The Simpsons is debunked. Flush water rotation is bullshit. It doesn't rotate the other way in the southern hemisphere. The Coriolis effect doesn't affect water in toilets.
It's not large enough.
Yeah. This is one I didn't expect. Black belts are masters. That's bullshit. Only introduced in 1880 in judo to show competence in basic techniques, not ninja-level mastery.
Well, I suppose that depends on their definition of mastery, because what they use it for right now is the highest rank. But that doesn't necessarily make you a master.
Yeah, sort of. Most schools I've seen lately, black belt is another rank. The highest rank I've seen usually get another color robe entirely these days.
Purple. And the other
like
thing that from what I understood, black belt is just the minimum requirement that people use to. It basically means that you know how to kill.
Yeah, according to this, it just means high proficiency, not mastery. The last thing on the graphic here, and I have not read all of them at all. Martyrs and 72 virgins. It's a matter of sizable debate in Islam. Nowhere in the Quran, but is reported in other texts.
Yeah.
There you go. There's a lady that's suing Monster... Oh, no. I'm sorry. She's not suing. There's a lady with a viral video against Monster Energy drinks. Why do you think she's against Monster Energy drinks?
For some stupid reason, I'm sure.
Because they kill people?
Because they turn you into monsters?
Because Satan.
Because Satan.
Oh,
yeah.
Of course.
The ubiquitous reason.
Everything is related to Satan.
This lady, in a Facebook and YouTube over the weekend, says that the M logo of Monster Energy drinks, you've seen it, the 3 slash marks?
Mm-hmm.
She says it's really made up of a Hebrew 6 repeated 3 times. According to her, you see these M's everywhere. Hats, t-shirts, bumper stickers. Is there another agenda here, she asked. If God can use people in product, so can Satan.
Could it be Satan?
Yeah.
She says she has more clues, such as the line through the O in Monster is really part of a cross, which represents the Antichrist.
Uh-huh.
She's reaching pretty deep here.
Oh, yeah.
The way she says it, quote, bottoms up and the devil laughs. Something to think about, unquote. She also points to the Unleash the Beast motto on each can, as well as the company's supposed use of implied profanity in its marketing.
Oh boy, she's got something there.
A few people, including members of the Christian community, have pointed out that the number of the beast is not 3 6s, but 666.
Yep.
Which is not represented by a Hebrew 6 repeated 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
You would need other characters for that.
Well, it's just like, back in the day, Procter & Gamble, their little star symbol was supposed to somehow form 666, and people get these fucking harebrained ideas all the damn time.
Yeah, it's a constant. Jesse, you remember last time we got together, actually V would remember this too, we read out the 14 worst plots that Cobra ever came up with to rule the world?
Yeah.
Would you believe I found a list on Crack of the terror plots that Cobra Commander came up with, 5 of them that might actually work, and they involve some of the same issues?
Huh. Shoot.
I kid you not.
Shoot.
Item number 5 they listed here is the wrong stuff. Hang on. In one of their many attempts to use television for evil, Cobra Commander uses stolen satellites as an inexplicable headquarters in the Himalayas to take over the airways, broadcasting Cobra TV to turn public opinion against G.I. Joe and in favor of their snake-themed one-world government. You remember we talked about that as one of their stupidest ideas?
Mm-hmm.
According to Crack, why it might have actually worked. For an organization that once tried to conquer the world through mind-controlled chewing gum, this is actually not a bad plan. Sure, their shows are bad and the recut movie endings are stupid, but if there's anything we've learned from the fact that 2.5 Men is the highest-rated comedy on television, is that people will watch anything, especially if it's stupid. Seriously, just try getting through one of Jimmy Fallon's monologues without wishing you were being indoctrinated into the ranks of the Televipers instead. I do think that seriously underguesses general intelligence level, though.
Yeah, they would have to be far more subtle with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Number 4 on the list of plans at crack.com says that Cobra could actually get away with is the Great Alaskan Land Rush. I think we talked about this as well. Cobra Commander attempts to take over Alaska, not through force of arms, but by using a little-known loophole in the William Seward's original treaty that gives legal ownership of the state to whomever has possession of the state seal, presumably rechristening it as Cobra Alaska and making it the first step in eventual world domination. This, as you might imagine, is a fairly stupid plan. Why they say it might have worked, the idea of a babbling laughingstock wresting power away from the U.S. government using obscure and possibly fictitious clause in a state document might have seemed like a stretch in the 80s, but that's pretty much exactly what Texas Governor Rick Perry was doing when he started advocating secession based on something he essentially made up. Once again, Cobra Commander was decades ahead of his time. As for the people of Alaska, well, they would later go on to elect gubernatorial beauty queen Sarah Palin, elevating her from her status as a former mayor of the state's meth capital to a historic vice presidential campaign that brought her perilously close to running the actual United States of America before she lost and decided it was better to quit than lose a basketball game. Or something like that. Point being, the rest of us are starting to get the idea that Alaskans might just be into girls who wear glasses and have goofy accents. And trust us, Cobra's got that one covered.
Oh my.
With the bear.
Yeah. Number 3 actually was on the list of stupid ideas. They say this one could work. The Cobra-thon. In order to fund the government of a destructive computer... Excuse me. In order to
Try again.
Fuck you. In order to fund the development of a destructive computer virus, the Cobra organization holds a telethon, taking pledges from various other terrorist organizations while putting on a show. The centerpiece, of course, is the execution of Joe's Lifeline and Sci-Fi, but they were also counting on other acts, like Destro's truly awful stand-up comedy routine to keep the cash rolling in. Why it might have worked? As mentioned above, Destro's attempt at stand-up comedy is terrible. The jokes are bad, the delivery is over the top, and he seems to be getting through on it by appealing to the worst of an audience with abysmally low standards. Dane Cook and Larry the Cable Guy made $20 million in 2008. Let me see. Number 2 on their list of plots was one that wasn't on the prior list. Ode to Cobra. Following a recipe found on stolen hieroglyphics, Cobra, having noticed all the great revolutions start with cosmetics, synthesizes a mind control perfume and sets about getting the Baroness to seduce a millionaire to gain control of his fortune. Why they chose to do this on a crowded yacht that was also a host to a couple of G.I. Joes, why they didn't just drive a squadron of his tanks up to the guy's house while he was at a party and just take the money, and why they thought that the Baroness, whose appearance ensured that a generation of young men would grow up with a thing for brunettes and glasses and leather pants, would need mind control perfume to help her seduction, the world may never know. Why it might have worked? Putting aside the perfume, this is essentially just a story of using a pretty girl to gain control of an asset. And while you might not think that would work on the kind of world-dominating scale Cobra Commander was shooting for, we'd like you to meet Carla Bruni. Bruni, a former underwear model, songwriter, and noted brunette with sexy accent, met Nicolas Sarkozy at a dinner party and married him in less than 4 months. Sarkozy, for those of you who don't know, is the president of France, which, and this is a crucial part here, is a country in possession of at least 30 nuclear weapons. Just to be clear, we're not trying to imply that Carla Bruni is actually a criminal mastermind working for a shadowy organization, because if she were, we'd all be living in Cobra Law by now. So, 2 or 3 of the items on this list actually made it into the list of what IO9 said was the worst Cobra plots. The last one was one that everyone was surprised didn't make it into the list of worst Cobra plots. The number 1 on the list of plots cracked says that Cobra could get away with is Cold Slither.
Oh, God. Oh, that's one of my favorite episodes.
Undoubtedly inspired by a pair of suicides attributed to satanic messages on Judas Priest screaming for vengeance, Cobra Commander slapped some glam rock wigs on Zartan and the Dreadnoks and produced his own hypnotic single. Oh, unfortunately, Cold Slither, with their number 1 hit, Cold Slither, from the album Cold Slither, only made it as far as the States Fair before the plot was uncovered by G.I. Joe. Most likely because they forgot to make the messages subliminal and instead put lines like, "Do not resist because Cobra is strong," right there in the actual song. Why it might have worked? One word, folks. Juggalos. If Cobra Commander was trying to inspire fanatical, violent devotion from an otherwise shiftless and apathetic bunch of kids with extremely poor taste in music, then maybe Cold Slither's problem wasn't that they were stupid and terrible, but that they weren't stupid and terrible enough.
Yeah.
In other words, they're citing the fans of the Insane Clown Posse.
Yeah, I actually knew that term.
Yeah, so did I. I still think Juggalos was actually one of the favorite lines I've ever heard in wrestling. was it, the Insane Clown Posse was on WCW, and one of the announcers didn't know what they were, and somebody referred to their fans as juggalos. And the guy turns around, he's a black man, and says, "What the hell's a juggalo? Is that like a step above a jughead or a step below a juggernaut?"
Okay.
I have a YouTube video for you.
Oh boy.
Okay.
What?
Yeah, we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out a little bit of science because someone decided to tape his kid brother, who decided to experiment with a glow stick and a microwave.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, it's a 4-minute clip. Well, he's turned on the glow stick. At least he figured that part out.
Loading. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, shake vigorously, and now we have something that looks like Batman will use it on Robin. Maybe it's full of bat lube.
And that's what you
No,
use
it has the
for.
Turtles mutagen in it.
It's actually in the microwave. I can't see the timer. I don't know how long you set it for.
I don't either.
Wait, there it is. It looks like you put it in for 30 seconds. And it's glowing more and more intensely. Does anyone think this is a bad idea by chance?
Maybe.
It's starting to look like a nuclear control rod, frankly. And you can see steam coming out of it.
He picks it up barehanded. I give him credit for balls.
Yeah. Don't. Stupid!
Oh!
Don't spoil it.
Oh my god, it's his dad!
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Oh!
It's just called a ding-a-ling. Oh my god. Okay, the video's like 4 minutes, and after a minute and a half, we've already got comedy gold here.
I think we're done.
Yeah, I think he's trying to figure out whether or not he has to take his son to a hospital to see if he needs to flush his face.
You have another one of these too.
Dumbass. Don't rub your eyes. I'm going to stop the video there. That was funny as all hell.
We've seen stupider things.
Yeah, I'm sorry the kid's in pain and everything, but he earned that.
Oh, he so earned that. I don't even. The
don't even
know. The thought
don't bother.
It's like,
yeah, I know.
What step was step one that led you to that?
Oh God, I don't know.
I think they were expecting it to blow up in the microwave.
Yeah.
But
that
he
was
pulled
fun.
it out without any real hesitation. He just reached in, pulled it out, like, ooh,
Well,
look
he
at
was
it.
like, well, it didn't blow up in the microwave. I guess it won't blow up at all.
Boom.
And started shaking it, yeah. Well, a game company in Indonesia was raided by police. Gameloft is a big mobile game company out in Indonesia.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
They're raided by police who thought they may be doing something illegal. They wanted to know more about the information they were giving out as far as prizes and everything. And police tried to force their way past security who wouldn't let them through. So they actually had to come back with a warrant, and when they came in, what did they find at Gameloft?
Nothing.
Nothing. Nope. They raided a game office and found out they weren't doing anything illicit whatsoever. All this was apparently because there was some conflicting information as to what exactly Gameloft was giving away as part of their games.
What do they think they're giving away?
I'm not sure. The warrant gave them a right to search, but they didn't find anything.
Crack, obviously.
Yeah. Actually, I found a story on Eater, thanks to my wife, that kind of goes along with our glow stick stupidity.
Uh-oh.
There's a woman who sued McDonald's for coffee burns. Another one.
But
Oh boy.
a legitimate one this time?
Well, it's a woman in Victorville. She alleged the coffee was too hot to handle, and she produced photos as proof of the burn she had, unfortunately.
I'm by legitimate, I mean illegitimate.
Yeah. Well, Selena Edwards is her name. She's now on jail for 21 felony counts of insurance and workers' compensation fraud. Would you like to know how she got caught? She used stock photos of a burn victim from her local hospital.
Oh.
And when I say stock photos, I mean photos they had on the website to example certain burns.
Genius.
Yep. So So not only that, apparently because she claimed her injury was keeping her from work, they also got her on workers' comp fraud.
Awesome.
Yeah, she's not getting her job back.
Nope.
Should be lucky if she gets out. Have you ever been so mad at a movie theater that you wanted to mace somebody?
Not really. No.
No.
I've been there, but fortunately I don't carry mace. The A5 Film Festival had a screening of Mr. Turner, and on Monday night of this past week, and one audience member maced another in the face for asking her to turn off her cell phone.
Someone's got issues.
In other words, the lady who maced the man maced him because he had the gall to ask her to turn off her cell phone.
That's...
Yeah,
she's already going to the special hell.
According to one eyewitness account, the man repeatedly told the woman to turn off her cell phone 5 minutes into the movie. After she refused, the man reached over the seat and tapped her on the shoulder. "You need to turn off your phone," he said, causing the woman to stand up, and after a brief exchange, she sprayed him in the face with a self-defense chemical. In other words, he committed assault.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Although, actually, him touching her...
I was about to say, by letter of the law, he did commit assault himself. Yeah. But I guess you can add battery to hers because she purposefully put that stuff in his face.
Yep.
And according to the eyewitness, everyone in the audience was watching in disbelief. I hope nobody would think that's part of the performance.
I would hope not.
The woman returned to her seat and continued watching the movie like nothing happened. Security quietly came in and removed her from the theater 15 minutes later.
I bet she wasn't quiet.
Probably not at that point, no. Have you ever wondered what a piece of bread is like in a squirrel-laden park?
Huh?
What?
Have you ever wondered what it is to be a piece of bread in a squirrel-laden park?
No.
Not particularly, no.
Check out the YouTube I sent you. It's only a minute long. A man decided to tie a piece of bread to one of his GoPros and see what would happen. You can see almost immediately something scampering in the background there. And I'm guessing that's the female squirrel because nothing's dragging behind it. But it seems awfully excited by this food, but unsure what to make of the camera.
So cute.
That probably looks like an eye.
Yeah, look at that tail twitch. She's just so entranced by this thing. And then, without warning...
Yoink.
Bye! The funny thing is running up the tree, you can actually see the guy waiting to see what happens to his camera. You can hear it munching, too. So this is what it's like to be bred, huh?
I've had a new experience today.
I like how it turns around the camera after it's done, just kind of stares at it and throws it out. So that's what it's like to be bred.
And now we know.
I have a list of the top 10 most annoying cartoon characters of all times, according to list.com.
Oh, boy.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's according to verbicidemagazine.com. Number one on that list is Elmira Duff from Tiny Toons Adventures.
Really? I can see that.
According to this, it says, quote, "Both Tiny Toons and Pinky and the Brain were great cartoons, but they were marred by Elmira, who unfortunately crossed over into the latter show late in its run. Some characters are funny annoying. See Bugs Bunny, Jerry, most animated antagonists, really, while others are annoying. Elmira was simply a grating presence in these otherwise enjoyable cartoons." The second character on this list was in a cartoon I enjoyed, but yes, I wanted it dead. I'll just read the quote and you'll understand why. "Snarf, snarf, why did Rankin Bass have to snarf, snarf, ruin an otherwise awesome snarf show with this unbearable character? Snarf, snarf."
Scooby-Doo?
Snarf from Thundercats.
Oh. I haven't seen either of those.
Also on this list is Scrappy Doo from Scooby and Scrappy Doo.
Oh, God, I hated him.
Ever been attacked by a vicious little ankle-biting dog whose owner scoops it up and cradles it protectively before you get a chance to boot it across the head?
You know, honestly, that is probably my aggravation with that character. Now, it suddenly becomes clear. I hate Chihuahuas and other ankle biters. I hate that stupid dog. Wow.
Yeah, actually, number four on this list is from something I'm actually familiar with. Kid Icarus from Captain N and the Games Master.
Really?
I don't even remember that character.
Like Snarf, Kid Icarus had an obnoxious voice and suffered from repetitive speech impediment that quickly became old, adding icus to the end of words and sentences, such as, if King Hippicus sits on me, I'll be Squashicus Maximus. Like Scooter, he was part of what should have been an entirely elite fighting squad, but his diminutive stature and overall weakness frequently caused him to be more of a liability than an asset.
Scooter
and
from
like
GoBots?
And like Scrappy Doo, he had some sort of weird Napoleon complex. Captain N, the Game Master, was a lame show anyway, where not for the exciting performance by soul singer Levi Stubbs as arch-villain Mother Brain, it would have been entirely unwatchable.
See, and I would have thought Mother Brain would have made it on one of the annoying ones. God, that voice was horrible.
Yeah, they have the character of Angelica Pickles from Rugrats. Has there ever been a nastier, bossier, brattier, and more manipulative cartoon character than Angelica Pickles? Even the masturbating grandpa couldn't rescue the show from the obnoxious clutches of Angelica.
What?
I don't know I really don't know what they're talking about. Prince Adam and Cringer is on this list.
Who?
Contrary to Cringer and Prince Adam were the characters who became He-Man and Battle Cat in their show.
Oh.
According to this, well, contrary to popular belief, as a child, the night before Christmas was not when time seemed to slow down the most. It was during the early part of every episode of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe before the insufferable duo of Adam and Cringer would transform into He-Man and Battle Cat. This actually surprised me. They listed Pebbles and Bam Bam here.
Really?
Yeah. While the Great Gazoo might be the most obvious choice for worst character from the Flintstones, he gets a pass for only appearing in a very small amount of episodes during the show's final season. Besides, despite the fact that many fans point to Gazoo's appearance on October 29, 1965 as the moment the show jumped the shark, it's more accurate to say that it happened the previous month. In September 1965, an episode entitled No Biz Like Showbiz aired, and it featured the heretofore gibberish-speaking babies repeatedly singing the most obnoxious song ever penned, Open Up Your Heart and Let the Sun Shine In. I've had this song stuck in my head for decades now, people. Make it stop!
Alright, I've not seen this.
I've seen that. I hate it. Last on this list is Scooter from Challenge of the GoBots. Worthless. It says here, worthless. That's the only way to describe Scooter and his contributions to the Guardians in comparison to the others. He was tiny, weak, and cowardly, and his voice, provided by the ubiquitous Frank Weller, was squeaky and weird.
Yeah,
much better
Megatron voice Scooter.
Yeah. Much better suited to Slimer and Nibbler than a major player in the war to save Gobotron, unquote.
God, I own so many of those toys.
I got one last list here from Kinja.com. Actually, from IO9, I should say. It's 12 cartoons from the 1980s no one will ever have nostalgia for.
Oh, yeah, Jesse was talking about that one.
Okay, I've not heard of Kissy Fur before.
Kissy Fur? I have.
What?
Yeah. Well, when a circus train derails, two performing bears escape into a swamp of paddle cab country. Somehow, the father bear, Gus, has the idea to start a paddle cab company, and with his son Kissy Fur, creates a business transporting other animals around the river. That is with the exception of alligators, because alligators are evil predators, while bears are gentle and noble protectors of the swamps. Two thoughts. One, how many other animals and circus folk died in the train wreck at the beginning of the opening? Two, Kissy Fur sounds a lot like Lucifer. Just saying. God, I almost remember the Potato Head Kids cartoon.
Oh, man.
I glossed over that one.
Quote, I imagine many kids would find it hard to believe, but prior to the Toy Story movies, Mr. Potato Head was not the 15th or so best-loved character from a major Pixar franchise. Actually, he had no character or cultural cash at all, other than being one of those toys every kid had, but no one ever plays with. Which is why Hasbro's decision to make a cartoon about Mr. Potato Head is so baffling. Albeit not as baffling as why they decided to have the show focus on his non-existent children instead of himself. As you can tell from the opening title, the Potato Head kids like having fun, which includes going to potato church and driving in cars with an unsecure potato baby. Now, you know what? The third cartoon on this list, I actually had fond memories of and probably a lot of nostalgia. Good reasons? No. But I remember Beverly Hills Teens.
Yes.
I don't.
Yes, I do.
Well, proving that there's always a market for entertainment based on watching young, insanely rich people be awful, Beverly Hills Teens was about, wait for it, teens in Beverly Hills without any problems except the ones they generate for themselves. According to Wikipedia, Beverly Hills Teens was touted by producers as a response to the more violent series aimed at children and would prove wholesome role models for kids. Those role models, of course, exemplifying the noble values of being stupid, rich, and mostly white. Also, I'm pretty sure that one computer nerd kid with the glasses built himself a sex bot, right? Number 4 on this list, I don't know at all. Rude Dog and the Dweebs.
Never heard of it.
What?
No.
Rude Dog and the Dweebs. Quote, you know when you make a cartoon based on the mascot of a semi-popular surfing and skateboarding-centric clothing line, you're going to get something special. And of course, when I say special, I mean an animated atrocity. I defy you to watch the above cartoon intro and not become filled with rage. Rude Dog is a dog who glorifies rudeness, as if being rude is cool and not something an asshole does. He also hangs out with the Dweebs, a pack of dogs who help him run his presumably rude delivery service. If you want to be really sad, track down one of the episodes and listen to the Dweebs, whose voices include Peter Cullen and Frank Welker, best known as the voices of Optimus Prime and Megatron from Transformers.
God, really?
Yeah, warning, once you hear them as Dweebs, you can never unhear them, unquote.
I will pass.
Absolutely. I don't know anything about Moon Dreamers either. Anybody?
Nope.
No, that one doesn't sound familiar either.
Quote, another cartoon paired with the original My Little Pony cartoon series based on a none-too-popular Hasbro doll line, the Moon Dreamers spent all their time sneaking into kids' bedrooms and helping them have nice dreams, while the evil queen Scowleen tried to make the kids have nightmares. So, yeah, pretty high-stakes stuff. Literally the only notable thing about this show is in the theme song, where it sounds like the pink-haired girl at 10 seconds in is singing, making your sweet-ass dreams come true, unquote.
Okay, I do remember that's vaguely coming back to me now, but God.
Dude, I'm lost. Number 6 on this list, I was aware of, and I avoided like it was Ebola. Denver the Last Dinosaur.
Dude, I thought that show was pretty cute.
I didn't
like it. Quote, Jesus, it's a dinosaur wearing sunglasses who skateboards and plays an electric guitar. It's the Simpsons Poochie before Poochie ever existed. It's a cartoon about coolness and friendship created by a marketing committee of old white men who'd never experienced either of them before. Apparently, Denver, and man, what a cool name for a dinosaur, the capital of Colorado is the bomb, yo, can use parts of his shell to travel in time because no one is working on any level of this show, gave the tiniest shit about it, and that's cool, unquote.
I don't know. I thought it was a cute show.
Did you ever watch Dink the Little Dinosaur?
No.
No.
That made number 7 on this list. Quote, for those of you who felt Denver's high-octane lifestyle was just too much for them, Dink was ready to accept you. Dink wasn't part of today's fast-paced world, but instead lived in the bucolic Jurassic era, where all the dinosaurs hung out 2 feet apart from each other in complete peace and friendship, except for when they went on water slides together and abused elderly turtles, unquote.
Okay.
Abused elderly turtles?
I'm not sure what they're talking about, and I don't care to learn. I didn't know the Rubik's Cube had its own show.
Yes, I did.
Rubik the Amazing Cube. Yep. Quote, was it hubris, stupidity, or just plain apathy that led animation studio Ruby Spheres to try and make a show out of the personality-less plastic block known as the Rubik's Cube? We may never know. We do know, thanks to archival footage, that the cartoon was terrible even beyond the fact that it was about a toy puzzle that gained magic powers and grew a creepy blue baby head when solved. I guarantee the Rubik cartoon made more people throw their cubes in the trash than inspired to buy one, unquote.
That is untrue, at least in my case.
Okay? I watched number 9 religiously, and I understand why it sucks today. I really enjoyed it in the day. Ghostbusters.
Yep.
Quote,
the real Ghostbusters, not the other one.
No, they're talking the other one.
Oh,
the Fillmore?
Okay. I watched that one too.
Quote, have you ever wondered why the cartoon based on the Ghostbusters movie was called The Real Ghostbusters instead of just Ghostbusters? You can blame this cartoon. When the movie became a hit, Filmation grabbed the rights to the 1970s live-action Ghostbusters TV show and put an extremely loose cartoon adaptation of it on the air, which bore the technically legal name of Ghostbusters. This was done before the movie people could get their animated spin-off ducks in a row, obviously. Filmation was more than willing to trick kids into thinking they were about to watch Venkman, Spangler, Stance, and Zedmore bust ghosts, only to find out the show was actually about 2 unknown dipshits and an ape wearing a fedora, running around like idiots. It made us bitter then, and to the extent that we think about it at all, it makes us bitter now, unquote.
I don't know, it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't terrible, but it compared to a lot of stuff today, not very memorable.
Well, I mean, honestly, how many cartoons have you been able to go back and watch that you watched when you were a kid and said, "Oh, dude, this is awesome"?
Not many.
Tom and Jerry is about the top of the list.
I can't even stand Tom and Jerry now.
Wow. I enjoyed it. It was violent as hell, but it was funny, I thought.
I don't know. Jerry pisses me off quite a bit.
Hey, that's my totem animal. Shut the fuck up. It's small and brown, just like me. Number 10 on the list is the Paw Paws. I remember seeing ads for this and never tuning into an episode.
Yeah,
I barely remember
it,
the
but
intro.
again, yeah, I never watched it.
Okay. Quote, I'm going to assume the entire world has forgotten about Paw Paws, because otherwise I think we'd still be talking about how weird it is that someone made a cartoon about a group of bear cubs embodying Native American stereotypes. Inspired by the immense amounts of cash the Smurfs was generating, Hanna-Barbera somehow decided what kids really wanted was a bunch of bears with names like Brave Paw and Laughing Paw, who lived in teepees and pueblos somehow, and had a magic totem pole that came to life whenever the village was under attack by an evil but incompetent magician, Dark Paw. Obviously, Hanna-Barbera was wrong, and kind of racist, unquote. I was aware of this one, and I hated this. Popeye and Son?
No.
I never watched it. Only the original Popeye cartoons.
Yeah.
Okay. Quote, in the heyday of the 80s, animation studios would make a cartoon about anything. They made cartoons based on live-action shows like Mork and Mindy and Laverne and Shirley, for goodness sake. And they also made shows about established characters suddenly with children, or sometimes as children, such as Muppet Babies and Flintstone Kids. Now, all of those surely have at least someone who thinks of them fondly. I mean, there's got to be a diehard Laverne and Shirley fan who appreciates the animated extension of the Laverne and Shirley verse, but no one loves Popeye and Son. Why? Because it took away Popeye's most and arguably only defining characteristic, his propensity for incredible violence. Neither Popeye nor Bluto nor their shitty kids ever punched each other in this show. Seriously, if Popeye can't hit anybody, what's the goddamn point of making a Popeye cartoon at all? Unquote.
Censors.
Oh, well, it's the 80s, you know.
Yeah.
We were all kind of pillow-gloved back then. The last one is a name I know, but I really wasn't aware of this cartoon. Foofer.
Foofer?
Foofer.
Oh, my.
Foofer.
Yes, a dog.
Quote,
yes.
Quote, this is a show about a blue dog who has inherited a house and the real estate agent who would like to sell the house, but has to get rid of the dog and his canine friends. It's a cartoon about dog eviction, and someone had the gall to claim this was cool. For fuck's sake, he only rode the skateboard because he accidentally stepped on it, unquote. That does sound truly terrible.
It was, yeah.
Okay, now that we've wasted a shit ton of time, the topic of this week is Marvel's Civil War. Jesse brought this up because of the Civil War subtitle to Captain America 3, and it's timely. And I have not read the Civil War since it occurred. And it occurs to me how much nuance was written into this goddamn series. It starts off actually in kind of the same pathetic place we are now, because you have I think the third iteration of the New Warriors, who are currently reality show stars. Night Thrasher, Namorita, Speedball, Microbe, and I think one other, but I'm not 100% on that. No, actually it was just the four of them at this time. The fifth one left before this.
Yeah, they mentioned that. Nova left.
Right. Not Nova, I was thinking of Debris. Nova had been gone for a while. But basically they attacked a bunch of C-list supervillains who were hiding out in a house as normal people for once. And Namorita tackled one of the people there, Nitro, at a school bus. Now, the power of Nitro is much more violent than it sounds. He explodes. And I don't mean he causes explosion. He causes his atoms to split apart and explode and then reforms later. When I say she tackled him in a school bus, he decided to let loose with a larger blast than he'd ever seen before, and it wiped out an elementary school. On a school day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal.
Yeah, it's a sad scene. And then you have heroes from all ends of the Marvel Universe trying to pick up the pieces for no real apparent reason other than they decided it was time that they were all available to respond. If you gave this to somebody nowadays, they might be a little confused why there's two guys piloting Sentinels watching over Wolverine and the X-Men.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
during this period, this was after the House of M, mutants were an endangered species, and the government actually decided to try and help the situation by putting civilian pilots and sentinels instead of AIs who can go crazy, and told them to watch the school. Their job was to guard the X-Men at all costs.
Huh.
Interesting.
Strange juxtaposition, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
But, it was it on page 14 of what would be considered the graphic novel, it was a sad situation when Goliath is still picking up, or I guess technically Black Goliath, holy fuck, is just turning over rubble, and then you see the rows of body bags.
Yeah.
The whole thing was creepy, but I think it's one of the strengths of the Civil War in that it wasn't just superheroes being superheroes. It wasn't just Captain America versus Iron Man. It's the dark side of vigilanteism. It's when things absolutely go wrong, and when they do, the public's going to want to hold somebody accountable.
Yeah, which is the problem with the public.
Yeah. It's one of those things where...
The almighty pointed finger.
It's not just a pointed finger. Superheroes, I imagine, if they exist in the real world, would be held up like cops. We expect them to do their job to the utmost, but as soon as they fuck up one thing and it ends up in our backyards, they're dead men. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think this is, by extension, a very grounded tale, really, because it dealt with not just the anger of the public, but how different people in the same vocation probably view themselves.
Mm.
Iron Man led a faction that thought it was a good idea for them to all get trained so that something like this elementary school disaster never happens again.
Yeah, except how do you
train them?
Yeah, how do you train them to deal with that kind of a situation?
Well, unfortunately, that's the double-edged side of the sword, is that to train them means that you have to regulate them, and to regulate them means they have to be a militia, more or less.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is something that Captain America didn't believe in this series. He believed in the autonomy of the superhero. If you're jumping red tape, you'll never make it in time to stop anything or take care of anything fully by the time you get your hands on it.
Yeah, which honestly, to me, was kind of amusing in a way, that Iron Man was the one that was pro-establishment, per se, and Captain America was on the other side. That was completely flip-flop to me.
To me, it was a little flip-flop. I mean, Captain America is Iron Man is the venture capitalist that he is. Wouldn't surprise me that he would be very pro-establishment.
But at the same time, he's always been the rogue canon. He never really played a lot by the Avengers rules, at least not in the beginning. Not unless it suited his purposes.
Yeah, well, it's also the role of Captain America in most stories, though, to play America's ideals, not really America's structure.
But he's also a billionaire that makes money off of businesses, and he might not necessarily think that he thinks with that brain, but...
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a complicated situation from beginning to end, no doubt about that. But they were the two most prominent voices in Marvel at the time, especially since this was the same year the Iron Man movie came out. And this series would help elevate Iron Man's status in the comics rather than just be the hanger-on. Because up until this point, I don't agree that Iron Man was a B-rate property throughout, but I do understand the argument because he never really stood front and center in anything, including Avengers stories for the most part. He tended to be on the periphery.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a chance for them to bring the character into the center of the Marvel Universe, and they did it, huge. What did you guys think of Cap's initial first stand against registration when S.H.I.E.L.D. tried to arrest him?
It made sense for someone that's dedicated to the ideals of freedom, as he seems to be. And no, I'm not going to arrest my fellow
I like the analogy, the analogy post saying, it's basically if you get registration, they get to choose who the supervillain is, not you.
Yeah,
you don't get to think anymore.
I guess that's one of those things. When Marvel advertises, they put out a bunch of links to things you could tweet out or put on your Facebook. I'm with Cap or I'm with Iron Man. When I read the series, there were reasons both of them were right.
Mm.
Yes, but I kind of I probably would have leaned toward the Cap side of things.
Yeah,
I admit I leaned toward. Yeah, Cap's goals were more in line with my own. It's just one of those things where I try to look at everything from both standpoints. When it comes to political things, I try to look at things how both view the world, and find things I agree with and disagree with. I'm not fully red or blue, which oddly enough is what the Civil War was. It was the red guy versus the blue guy.
Yeah.
But the idea of training heroes was not a bad thing, but the idea of regimenting them was pretty shitty.
Yeah, I mean, if it was a volunteer status, come, we are offering these free courses, how to deal with this situation, so on and so forth, come, show up, but also the fact of no secret identities, that was horrible.
That's a scary idea, but the other thing that occurred to me was when they were talking about training superheroes, a regimented form of training them wouldn't necessarily work because superheroes are as different as goddamn snowflake for the most part.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah.
The power sets are different, the skills are different, the abilities are different. That's one of the advantages that a superhero has, is that if he comes across a supervillain, unless the villain is like read the handbook to the Marvel Universe, he has to guess what he's up against.
And vice
versa for the most part. Yeah. So you have to be good at improv. You can't just stand there and say, okay, move 1 is straight punch, and move 2 is right cross, and move 3 is uppercut. We're going to take care of this. This was a pretty landmark thing, though, because in the second issue was when Spider-Man took off his mask.
Yeah, that made headlines.
Yeah. Well, that changed the entire structure of Spider-Man, who dealt with anonymity was one of his biggest weapons, really.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even the people who liked him barely knew who he was. He only trusted an inner circle of people.
When I say he made headlines, I mean he made literal headlines in even New York City.
Like CNN. Yeah, that actually made news. Although it created a hell of a fallout that I do understand why they had to walk that back. He was being sued by Betty Brant for complicating his life, basically, and giving her PTSD. He was being sued by J. Jonah Jameson for taking pictures of himself, which is a legitimate thing. He had ran into a lot of trouble, and that's how Aunt May ended up in the crosshairs of a sniper. That's also why he went back to the black costume for a little while in the New Avengers. I did like the scenes where Tony Stark is trying to woo Emma Frost, who basically said, fuck you, you weren't here when mutants died, why should I be there for you?
Yeah.
That's a legitimate standpoint that always bothered me during the Civil War. The Avengers always come to the X-Men and say, we could use your help, and the X-Men always have to say, where were you when we needed help? We defend the Earth, we stopped the Firebird from eating you twice, we stopped the alien invasions I don't know how many times, where were you when we needed help? Could have used the guy with the hammer.
Right?
But I did think it was a fitting character turn when Emma Frost turned him down, and then outside the gates is, the only cop of the X-Men, Bishop, basically saying, we need to talk. I do agree with that. That does seem like something the character of Bishop would do. Pre-shooting Charles Xavier insanity anyway.
Yeah. I liked how they involved the Punisher.
Oh, God, dude.
Like, I like that he was brought in because, okay, maybe he's useful, and then he's like, I am lawful neutral. I will execute these people.
Yeah. Yeah, the Punisher was kind of a knee-jerk reaction because Cap took a major hit prior to that. I think it's the third or fourth issue when the two factions basically had their first real fight and involved Tony Stark bringing out the Ragnarok clone.
Yeah.
The clone and cybernetic duplicate of Thor with very similar powers that killed Black Goliath. I hate saying that. I know he's not the first guy to be Goliath, but why does he have to be Black Goliath?
The comic never referred to him as Black Goliath that I read.
That's how he started out, though. He was Black Goliath, because the first Goliath was, I think it was Hank Pym. The second one was Hawkeye.
Yeah.
He was the third one to take the name, and they called him Black Goliath originally. They stopped doing that because it seemed kind of racist.
Really? So that's what the reference was when he was saying, I don't mind all the Goliaths throughout the years.
Yes. He was not the first. Wasn't the last either. It came down to a scrap where Ragnarok put a lightning bolt through the chest of Black Goliath. And the fallout of that was sad when they were trying to figure out how to bury him.
Yeah. Was it 38 plots they had to buy out?
Yeah, because after he died, he was dead, and the Pym particles in him were inactive, so he stayed at 10 stories tall. They had to bring out backhoes to bury the poor guy. I will say, though, that But prior to that, it was interesting how Captain America seemed to revert to certain superhero tropes. You know, everybody had secret identities and clothes over their costumes, like Clark Kent.
Yeah.
You know, and his crew was made up of some of the weirdest individuals you would ever think that he would put together with. Stature and Vision from the New Avengers, he had Goliath there with him. He had Cable on his squad, for crying out loud. Luke Cage. You know, it was a motley band he put together. You know, meanwhile, Iron Man's squad sounds more like All-Stars with, the Miss Marvel of the time, She-Hulk, The Thing, Mr. Fantastic.
Sentry.
Yeah, Atlas and the Radioactive Man from the Thunderbolts. I don't think he had... Oh, that's right, the Sentry was on his squad at this time.
Yeah, no,
Hydra and the Wasp. It was really weird how this accelerated, and yeah, because they were running low on recruits because of repeated captures and now Goliath's death, what happened was that Cap had to be more open to his roster, and the Punisher said he wanted in.
Yep, he got in.
Yeah.
One mission and he got kicked out.
Yeah. Forcibly. There was something really creepy, though, about Frank Castle when he's laying on the ground after he shot those two C-list supervillains who tried to join just because they disagreed with registration. Punisher shoots them. Cap beats up the Punisher, has him on the ground, and as he's holding that last punch, Cap looks up at him and says, "What are you waiting for, Cap? Punish me!" I almost expected a ball gag to be pulled out right there.
It probably is on the internet somewhere.
And was it probably around the 5th issue here was when Spider-Man switched teams too.
Yep. That was a bit sudden. I'm pretty sure there was some lead up in other issues.
There was a general lead up because the bits of inner dialogue that Peter Parker had, he often talked about during this miniseries where he couldn't believe it that he was going to fight the man who basically inspired him throughout his superhero career, Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be one of those weird juxtapositions when you feel so right that you're going to save lives, but here's the guy that you idolize and emulated for all your life telling you you're in the wrong. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And let alone, that's when Hill starts using all the semi-reformed villains they have on their roster to try to hunt him down, which you know is just going to end terribly.
Of course.
Yeah, there's no way it can go well.
Yeah, I kind of wonder what was going through her head at that time. You know, it's like, how did she even sell that? It's like, guys, I have this perfect idea. We're going to take villains, right? Villains, bad guys. And we're going to try to reform them. And then we're going to send them after people that we also consider villains.
You know what? The idea behind that is not terrible because some of the people in that roster were actual working Thunderbolts. Atlas, Songbird, Moonstone, Radioactive Man. These were people that were actually working towards a better goal. And most of them were independent prior to this.
Right, but at the same time...
They actually got together on their own and decided to fight for a better planet. The problem I had was that not long after this, somehow Norman Osborn, convicted felon Green Goblin Norman Osborn, was put in charge of this project.
That's what I'm saying, though. It's like the planning might have actually sounded, somewhat decent. Maybe not in the way that I put it, but okay, I could see the point there. But then the execution, it's like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
And then there was the 42 prison in the negative zone. That was the creepiest idea I've seen in all of the comics. The fact that was it Hank Pym, Mr. Fantastic, and Iron Man conspired to create a prison that would literally take them out of a place where they could really be a part of the world anymore.
Mm.
Let alone based in the negative zone where Annihilus and Blaster are. Did no one think this was a bad idea?
Evidently not.
Well, we know Annihilus wasn't there because he was, raiding normal space at the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, when I saw the lineup they had when they're about ready to go to blows the second time around in that prison, I was looking at the lineup on both sides and I realized it's a bit mismatched.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shit idea. That's all I can really say about it all. Obviously we know which way it went because we keep talking about the death of Captain America after the Civil War. Registration won the day. Iron Man becomes director of S.H.I.E.L.D. because Hill basically abdicates the job to him. She never wanted it, but she was kind of left it after Nick Fury. But, after everything is quasi-settled here, it occurs to me how much of this may have been manipulation of the basest sort. Hercules managed to destroy the head of the Ragnarok clone, which is rebuilt later. Captain America is steps away from killing Iron Man before he hesitates and gives up because it's just not worth it. I don't know about that argument in particular, but I do agree with his aspect that if they kept this fight up, it's just going to destroy everything.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot of power going crazy. The new Avengers is formed. There's now an Avengers team in every state, mostly made up of initiates and trainees. Spider-Man goes to his black costume, kind of in a mourning period. The Mighty Avengers is born for the first time, which was really an overpowered team when you think about it. The Sentry, Ares, Wonder Man, the Wasp, Miss Marvel in the lead, Iron Man, and the Black Widow.
Holy crap.
Yeah, that's basically, we show up, you better fall down. But the other thing that really gets me in going back through this and reading it, a lot of people may not understand, is how much of this may not have been the fault of any character here. They all may have been superbly manipulated because two of the major players that kicked off the Civil War were Spider-Woman and Yellow Jacket. Yeah, Spider-Woman, the Queen of the Skrulls, and Yellow Jacket, one of her top lieutenants.
Yep.
So in other words, one of the guys who built the prison, taking all these important heroes off planet, is a Skrull. And one of the people who started this whole fight and made Tony Stark so confident in his standpoint was Queen of the Skrulls.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if I would say this was Stark's idea so much as he was definitively pushed in this direction. It's like I said, it's subjective, because even Tony Stark would say he's a dick and he'd probably do it again if he had the chance. But there is the idea that he was pushed, probably if he was on the edge, he was pushed over it. They convinced him what to do. I do think there was one missed opportunity throughout this whole thing, though.
What's that?
Oh.
Well, this whole series built a definitive schism in the Fantastic Four.
Oh, yeah.
The Invisible Woman and the Human Torch were on Cap's side. Iron Man had the Thing and the Mr. Fantastic. You could have built two brand new, really interesting teams out of this division.
I thought Thing actually didn't even choose a side when I first heard
No,
about
if you remember, he was in the first fight we were talking about. He was punching out Hercules. He was on Iron Man's side in this.
Yeah, no, I was saying, I remember what I read, but when I initially first heard about it way back when, I thought I was told that Thing decided to take off and just not pick a side.
I think he decided on that initially, but he ended up coming back and picking a side.
Mm.
It's one of, like I said, wasted opportunity. They could have really revamped some heroes who were, flagging all the way to the point that their series is now canceled.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed when it seemed that Sue went back to him in the end.
She didn't go back. That was her taking her bags. But it turns out that after this period, what happened was they decided to go on a sabbatical to rethink their marriage. During that time, the Black Panther and Storm were in Four Freedoms Plaza with or in the Baxter Building with the Human Torch and the Thing, and they were the current Fantastic Four. It only took about 6 or 8 issues before Reed and Susan Richards reappeared, and everything's okay.
Yeah.
Sorry I imprisoned all your friends, hun, but we're good now, right? I thought that was just too easy of reconciliation. Besides which, the issues with the Black Panther and Storm, actually pretty good. That's the thing the Fantastic Four lacks is new dynamics. Other teams have shifting rosters or a good group of sub-characters that come in and out. Whenever somebody is replacing the Fantastic Four, all you're doing is waiting for when the originals come back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
None of the Fantastic Four, when they've died, have stayed dead. You're always convinced they're coming back. When they quit, they're always coming back. And if you notice, whenever they replace somebody, they always replace them with a common allegory. When the Human Torch went away, Crystal was on the team, and she could do fire and ice. When the Thing is gone, he's replaced by Luke Cage or the She-Hulk or somebody else that does super strength. They never try and add anything to the mix. Maybe if the Thing's gone, maybe you need a cannon. Ask Cannonball if he's busy. He'll punch through something, and he's fast. And he can sit in a seat without needing a triple wide. But this is one of those few things that I don't think you need a whole lot of backstory on. You can put it right in someone's hands and say, you want to see superheroes freaking out? Here you go.
Yeah. It's one of the more interesting comics we've read.
I thought it was well paced because they didn't stick to one scene for very long to the point it's like, oh god, please move on. No.
Yeah, it did shuffle very quickly, like an action movie from scene to scene. They didn't want to just sit there and lounge with it. Maybe because they had so many tie-ins. Civil War took up a lot of space in Marvel.
Oh, there was a lot of people involved, so.
It makes sense. I was able to follow it pretty easily, even though I had no idea who anyone was. The only person that was only two people that were visually recognizable besides the Fantastic Four were Captain A and Wolverine. To me personally, but
I want to ask you because you don't read a lot of comics generally. Was it accessible?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it was relating to something we can all get behind, a division amongst the people over a matter of security.
I don't remember who wrote this. I think this was during the Bendis era of the Avengers. Actually, it was written by Mark Miller, and I've read other bits of his work. I thought the best thing he did about this was he didn't just make it action-oriented. He made it thought-provoking and political. It wasn't just what makes up a superhero and what's in a superhero's head. It actually went into the idea of what motivates you, how do you operate,
right.
What lengths are you willing to go, and what are the standards and borders that you actually have to have in place to get your job done. Because every hero has to have a point where they can't cross.
Agreed.
Villains
too, for that matter.
Right, well, some people will point at Wolverine and Punisher and say, there's no line anybody won't cross.
Wolverine lines.
Yeah, Wolverine won't slaughter kids. Spider-Man won't kill anybody. Iron Man is probably capable of killing, but he has alcoholism as a guilt trip. Captain America, has he killed? Yeah, he's lopped off some vampire heads, but I don't think he's actually tried to kill civilians.
I'm pretty sure he's killed a lot of Germans in the war.
Yeah, even Sam Wilson as the Falcon has a no-kill rule no matter how much he's getting beat up. And it's not just the idea of how far you'll go as far as mortality, it's just the idea of how far will you go to protect your ideals.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of those important things that a lot of comic books don't touch on. And in this miniseries, it rammed right into this this aspect and just didn't give up on it.
One thing I noticed as I was reading through, I realized how the division was set up between pro and against. I noticed that all the brains permanent side with the Pro Registration Act.
A lot of them, yeah. It does. It also kind of digs into that little bit that a lot of us don't talk about in this country about how intelligence affects our standpoints.
Well, it's not just intelligence, but scientists in particular, and this probably appeals to them as a structure, order.
Right, as students of order, yeah, regimenting and registration would probably sound like a hell of an idea. And you also notice that a lot of the street-level superheroes weren't very hip to this idea.
Yeah. Those that, kind of follow instincts or follow, like a better term, follow their heart.
Right. Cage, Daredevil, the Human Torch were not really interested in these kind of aspects.
Which is interesting because Spider-Man actually falls into both categories when you think about it.
Yeah, he did. That's probably why he ended up on both teams, because at this point he had only recently been an Avenger. Prior to that, he'd been a solo actor his whole career, basically. But this is one of those few series that without hesitation, I would just put it in somebody's hands and say, enjoy this.
Yeah. And doesn't this lead up to
a lot of other things?
The death of Captain America?
Yeah, the death of Captain America is an immediate fallout because as he was being led away from his, I think, initial hearing to bring him up on charges, that's when he was shot.
Right.
So this directly leads to the death of Captain America. The Civil War, some people would call it event fatigue because they were tired of things just happening one after the other, but the Civil War was really the middle of a whole lot of crap that went on. You start with mutants kind of becoming a global force, right? The X-Men were all over the world at one point. Mm-hmm. Then the Scarlet Witch goes insane and creates the House of M, and suddenly mutants are pared way down. They go from a world power to an endangered species. So they ended up backing out of a lot of events, right? And then you go to the disassembling of the Avengers. So the World Security Force is disconnected. Then you have the new Avengers. They're reconnected, but they're ragtag. And then not long after the new Avengers, you have the Civil War because of the schism between essentially the new Avengers. Half of them split in both directions on this problem.
Right.
Then from Civil War, you go into Tony Stark's reign as a S.H.I.E.L.D. director, and because of that, you suddenly have the Secret Invasion when Skrulls figure that the heroes are decimated, they barely trust each other, now's the time to take this shit down. And then after Secret Invasion, because of how badly Tony Stark screwed it up, and suddenly Norman Osborn looked like a hero, you suddenly have the Dark Reign when villains are in charge of the superhero community.
Marvel knows how to really change the ball around.
Well, this was a well-structured event because at this time, the X-Men were decimated and didn't want to deal with shit. The Hulk was off-planet, and Thor was in the midst of Ragnarok. He was dead. So all those powers that could turn the tide of a fight, depending on which side they land on, were all gone.
What about Sentry?
This was a period of a knockdown, drag-out. The Sentry, he stayed largely out of this simply because of his own mental problems. He couldn't deal with his two father figures, Iron Man and Captain America, fighting amongst themselves, so he secluded himself until after it was over.
Which is probably a good thing, due to his mental problems.
Yeah, well, it's like the Sentry was a non-factor in the Secret Invasion, too, because one of the Skrulls popped up, showed him his real face, and said, "Finally, you're here! We were waiting for you to show your true colors." They had him so screwed up, he thought he was a Skrull and flew into space. He tried to figure this out on his own, which, this was the Secret Invasion, so as you can imagine, not a whole lot of great people to talk to right now. It's part of a complicated part of Marvel history, but if I had each book in succession from House of M all the way through to, Heroic Age, post Dark Reign, I would love to have all these event books on a shelf. Not even alphabetical, just chronological.
Didn't you get a bulk of that back in Kamikaze?
I did, actually. I picked up the Secret Invasion, I picked up Avengers Disassembled, and I picked up the Dark Avengers book.
Yeah, you missed out on the Civil War.
Yeah, I was second-guessing that because it was the most expensive book on the table at $35 for the hardcover, and by the time I went back, they were all picked up. But I have badges to Comic-Con. So, second chance is coming. Really, the only thing I need to get would be the beginning of the Heroic Age and the Thunderbolts. The Norman Osborn Thunderbolts. I would like to get my hands on that. But I'm sorry, I've rambled way too long. Does anybody have anything really negative to say about the book? It sounds like we've kind of lifted it up on a pillar and said, this is what comic books is supposed to be.
Honestly, probably the only thing I'd probably say I didn't like was the mother who, kind of was in talks with Tony Stark. She was about the only thing I hated.
Yeah, I agree.
Unfortunately, there are people that are rational, though.
Yeah, I know.
By this time, Tony Stark has taken off his mask twice. He is kind of the face of superheroes.
I think we dislike her character, not her inclusion of the character.
Yeah, her inclusion. Her
character's the kind of bitch we expect, though. She's something I think we would find in real life, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, as much as ridiculous as she is, you can't argue that she wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
I think this book, top to bottom, is really good. I love the pencil work in it. I like the story structure of it. I like how fast-paced it is. And
I really like the art in this one in particular.
I think they really went all out with the art for those, considering the story they were trying to tell. Especially when you get those big reveals like Spider-Man unmasking himself.
Right.
Yeah, I think Steve McNiven did the art throughout this miniseries. My only... Other than the Fantastic Four opportunity that I think was lost, if I had only one bitch, there wasn't enough X-Men in it for me, but I'm an X-Men fan, and realistically, they structured it in such a way that the X-Men were supposed to stay out of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I think that's realistic. But I think I've taken up enough of your time, too. This has been like a 4-hour show.
Yep, it's pretty much dinner time.
Where should we go from here? We got all kinds of possibilities.
Ooh, wow.
We kind of rammed this one into the ground.
Well, we just Civil War where hero versus hero. I know we don't like DC at all.
No, I got an idea actually, and it's DC.
Oh, what is it?
We just talked about what we consider the pinnacle of Marvel writing. Why don't we talk about what's considered the pinnacle of DC writing?
Ooh.
The Killing Joke.
All I can think about when you say that is Monty Python. What is it?
The Killing. Is that the one where Joker shot Barbara?
That's the one where the Joker shot Barbara Gordon and took her out of Supergirl.
Yes. Ooh. Oh, yes.
That's where the Oracle was created. I think that's a good subject to try because I've heard people talk about how great it is. I've never actually seen it.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not a Batman fan, but I'll try anything. You know, Batman has turned in some good stories like Hush before. I would like to see if this is as good and it holds up.
I like Batman. Yeah. Well, I like movies anyway.
All right. Well, next week then, it's The Killing Joke. Thank you very much for tuning in, and those of you that have stayed with us through our breaks, thank you very much, and those of you that enjoy the show, speak up. I'd like to hear from you more. You know, our email is mspfreight@yahoo.com, and if you got anything you want us to go through, give us a suggestion. Even if we ridicule it, we'll probably put it on the table just because we'll try anything once.
Yeah, except for the Fantastic Four movie.
Granted. But no, we'll try reading anything once just because we're comic book fans, man. Why wouldn't we be willing to try new things?
Because we're comic book fans.
Married. Hey, I got married. Somebody try something new with me. Thank you very much. I'm told dinner is ready, so I gotta go. I really appreciate you guys tuning in week after week. It does mean a lot to me. I just would like to hear more from you guys and let us know what you think. Let us know what you don't like. Let us know if you think I'm an asshole, because a lot of people do. Have a great weekend. Have a great weekend. Appreciate all of you. I am Jeremy.
Steve. Jesse.
And V.
Have a great one. Now that I've said all that nice stuff to people, I almost feel like adding a penis joke just to, you know, keep it rolling along like it ought to.
Oh, my.
Done.
Dick.
There we go.